Lift off. All right, welcome along this afternoon. Party atmosphere in the RP Live studio with our sponsors Betfair along the way. Dave Orton steering the ship. Kempton, Newcastle. A bit of Lingfield as well, just to put a tricky spanner in the works as well. Who's been looking at the all-weather action this winter? Let us know what the good things are there. 2 races coming on the way, including the Winter Derby. Lord North takes that in, doesn't he? But it's all about one race at Newcastle for most of us in here. The Ida Day is here, 3:15. I'll tell you what, we culminate this show in 2 belting handicaps. Who wins? Get involved if you're watching on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Of course, anything on Facebook Live. Let's have the chat. Good to know you're out there. The sun is shining as it is in the studio. Anything on Twitter, #RP Live. Right, Natalie Green joins us back. How are we?
Very good. Just here on time today, unlike some people.
Yes, it's a bit of a jungle out there. And we can now mark this as an annual event, can't we, Mr. Melrose? Because it's Ida Day. We should call it Melrose Day. This is genuinely your favourite race in the calendar.
Yeah, it basically is. I was thinking, though, I've got a terrible record in it, you know.
What?
Don't be a defeatist.
What is it about it that you love? 4 miles, Newcastle. It's like staring up the Eiger, isn't it? That's what it should be called.
Well, yeah, the Eiger. It's Newcastle's a bit different to a lot of these other tracks as well. It's actually closer to the water than a lot of people think, and there's quite a stiff headwind up the straight generally, and it's a long burn of a climb from the end of the back straight, the last 6 furlongs or so. So it's a really different test to most of these staying handicaps. It's very different to the Classic Chase, which is a pertinent example, given a Claire Surfson there who won the Classic Chase at Warwick. It's just a bit of a different race to all these other plods, and it is, as I called it in the paper today, the Plodder's Plod, and I do love one of them.
Last man standing.
The Plodder's Plod, yeah, absolutely. I wonder who will be that amongst us this afternoon.
Possibly not this year, remember, because Newcastle is actually, the ground's not that deep this year in Newcastle. It's probably the liveliest it's been in about 10 years.
Yeah, Strong Economy's out, 16 runners, 3:15. He's back. Let's go to Ireland then. Barry Orr joins us. Good to have you back, man.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are things?
Very, very well. You've had a little bit of time off, Barry. Are you roaring to go? There's a little link for you there.
Yeah, I certainly am roaring to go, Dave. Very good. Yeah, you can build your roar. You want me to tell the folks about it now, or do you want to leave it till later?
No, it's up on the screen. Look, there it is.
I can see that there. Yeah, so you can grow your Cheltenham roar with a £30 free bet pot. You bet 20 quid on any horse racing in a week on the Sportsbook Early Exchange to add to your £10 free bet pot. That the 20 quid can be 4 different selections. It can be 4 fivers. It can be 21 quid bets. Whatever way you want to place it. This week is the first week. Starting Monday is second week, and then the following Monday is week 3. And then by the 14th of March, you'll have 30 quid in your free bet pot if you've qualified. So just bet 20 quid in horse racing across the week, qualify, get your tenner. That week 1, week 2, week 3, you'll get 30 quid in your free bet pot for the kickoff of the Cheltenham Roar on Tuesday the 15th.
Marvellous. All right then, Barry. Great stuff. So, yeah, absolutely. Get involved. The Cheltenham Roar. We're not far off it, are we?
It's so exciting, that opener, the curtain raiser, and all the hairs on the back of your neck just go ding.
Because, of course, there was no Roar last. Well, there probably was some stable lasses and
yeah, but not.
There was one, wasn't there? We heard it, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah, well, I watched it. It was like, it's going to be silent this year, but 20
Someone
stable
give it the
lads and
willy.
lasses went mental.
Yeah, all right, okay. If you were one of them, let us know. So, listen, this is an interactive show this afternoon. If you're new to it, Barry's going to showcase the exchange to you, give you some sportsbook as well. Shall we get up and running, Barry, with some housekeeping?
Yeah, we certainly will. Let's kick off with an each way lucky 15. Is it Keith or Keith? Are you doing the? Are you going to be helping on the?
Breathe a sigh of relief, Barry. It is Keith.
Don't worry, Barry. It's not me.
It's a quid each way lucky 15, obviously. So that's going to cost us 30 quid. But we're going to kick off with Teddy Blue in the 150 in Kempton. Then in the 337 in Kempton and Rillo. Then in the 315, the Eider up in Newcastle, we're going to go Rape and Lure. And in Lingfield, Lord Ridderford in the sprint. So 4 selections. It's 6 doubles, 4 trebles, an accumulator, and 4 singles. So it's 15 bets. We're doing it for a quid each way. So it's going to cost us 30 quid.
You love Lord Ridderford, Barry, don't you? You absolutely love this horse.
I do, yeah. I'm a bit of an affair with that horse.
Yeah.
Done me plenty of turns last year, especially in Goodwood and a nice handicap. I think Holly Doyle rode him that day. So, yeah, I think he's a horse that runs well at the track too. You
can picture it, actually, that, can't you? That's the great thing about horse racing. Sun is shining everywhere today, isn't it? Ground at Kempton. I was going to say Kelso, then it's next week, isn't it? Kempton. Keith, what are we expecting?
It's It's good to soft officially still, and it's just going to be. I mean, at this time of year, this is we're coming out of winter, and while we think about boggy iders, which actually is a little bit of an unfair characterisation of that race, Kempton we're always expecting nice sort of ground where the spring horses can start to get a bit of joy.
It does feel a little bit spring-like today, doesn't it?
Very much so. Do you know what? I went out with my football team this morning, the under-7s.
Yeah.
I managed them this morning. It was sweaty time. Let me tell you,
it was nice.
It was a sign of things to come.
Especially in your motty coat that I'm sure you actually wear today.
Yeah, listen, there is an image out there that you're probably thinking of, and you're right. Okay, now the pressure's on here, isn't it, in the first race for us all? Barry, do you want to take us away? Because we're all agreeing on one horse.
Oh, we're all on day around the Serjac, are we?
We are.
So, yeah, I just thought, like, as a novice, he makes it with some really good novice chasers. Obviously, he was third to Champ, and then he was third to Midnight Shadow in the Dipper at Cheltenham. And at one stage, he's rated 149. Now he's obviously tumbled down the handicap, and he's rated 129. And he showed a little return to form last day in Cheltenham. I wasn't too despondent after that. I just think he's in off a decent mark. Been quite weak in the market now. He's out to 6.2 on the exchange, which is over 5-1 now. Your favourite Protaculus is 6.0, along with Phlegmatic, who's 6.0, 7-6-1 Troop King, Foxborough 7-8. It's 8 Le Camelon. So, you know, it's really tight at the top of the betting. But yeah, they ran the Serjac. So we're just going to kick off, Natalie, please, having 25 quid win on him. We're happy to be a price taker here at 6.2 as well. Or sorry, Keith. We're happy to be a price taker at 6.2. 25 quid win. They ran the Serjac.
He's trying to get you pressing the buttons again, isn't he?
Trying to get me on those buttons, I
I'll
tell you.
discalculate Nat. Keith, we all like this horse. You know, you've actually napped it. Klaxon time, as you said on the email when you sent your selections in. You don't like it, do you?
I don't like napping in the first because then it's just a slow puncture.
You're at the top of the Eiger at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, so I do. This is the horse I fancy most today, actually. I looked at this race. The one thing I'm surprised about in the betting is how the top three, Deandy Carjack, Patroclus and Phlegmatic, haven't really distanced themselves from the rest. I thought the three of them stood out a mile in terms of them being interesting. I mean, Foxborough's an interesting horse at his level. Not a role model as a horse I've backed in a knock to 128 faking him this year. These are much more interesting horses, these top three on the card. I'm surprised they've not distanced himself more. Deandy Carjack looked like a horse that was going to win a big handicap as a novice. His jumping let him down for a long time, but he sorted that out in the crucible, we'll call it, of these big Cheltenham handicaps. Unfortunately, I just don't think he wants a stiff 2.5 miles and getting held up in these Cheltenham races where that doesn't really tend to suit. He's got a quicker track here, not as testing ground, slightly less of test of stamina, not a track that necessarily favours front runners the same as that one at Cheltenham. Just everything going for him today. I have him in at 5-2.
Ooh, okay. I mean, he was much bigger at the start of the week, wasn't he?
He was. I mean,
a lot of our good judges are on him.
Paul Keeley's is on him heavily as well, and that obviously is too. And I didn't look until Dex. You've told me that today, and you've darkened my mood because I only looked post Dex time and took a bit of 9-2.
Well, I mean, it's a funny thing though, isn't it? If you're betting on a Monday, you're betting that they make it to the race, aren't you? Pretty much. Alan King trains, of course. He's had 4 runners in this race in the past 10 years. 50% strike rate for that. Nicky Henderson is the other trainer with a record in the race. Eric won it for him in 2016.
Well, Alan King's record on this whole card's really good, isn't it?
Adonis, painful memories that need to be eradicated from Tritonic last year. You like Patroclus?
Yeah, no, I do. I mean, I'm with you guys on Darren de Carjac.
You're Dutching.
But, well, yeah, I am a bit because I studied this quite hard. I'm looking at 2 angles, right? Darren de Carjac, he's been running top Cheltenham races. He's a classic experience. He's really consistent. And then, I've got to turn over for my notes, obviously.
Which started on Wednesday,
memory.
just to let everyone know.
I have to write notes, because I just can't remember anything. But coming down the weights, despite having been running badly at all, and with a mark of 129, the hope is at £16 from his highest rating, 131. I mean, there's just so many pointers, aren't there, to go for this horse. But the Henderson horse, he is the youngest of the field at 6 years old. He's a novice chase. I thought it was really interesting that Nicky's thrown him straight into handicap, not novice.
Yeah, they fancied him first time up, and he disappointed them. I think he needed it on bad ground at Newbury, wasn't it? And then he just got over the line, I would say, last time.
It was a real speed test, that was a proper test of speed. I sometimes do a time, if I can't read how a race is panned out over fences, I'll time from 3 out normally, just to get a feel of how they finish, and it was a speed test.
Because visually it looked a bit like he might not have the pace for this, so according to the times he will. Right, they're circling at the start, Barry. I guess, is this a case of Dayran de Carjac just coming out to sort of probably those that haven't been on, they're trying to get him now and all that sort of stuff?
Not really. 6.2, so he's still over 5-1. It's just a very competitive heat, Dave. I think it's fair to say, but it's only a cigarette paper between the top three in the market. 6 Protaculus, Phlegmatic is 6-2, along with Dayran, there's Sarjak, and One True King 7-6. So small few quid for Boxborough at 8-2. There's only only one horse at double figures. That's Nailed the Legend out of all the runners, and he's a 16-1 chance. So it gives you an indication how competitive and fair it is.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that he's as big as he is, actually, Neil the Legend. Of course, Nico de Boisville runs this chap because the Dye watercolours will be ridden by James Bowen.
He's going to go off in front, isn't he?
Looks that way.
He's going to try to dominate.
And surprise, Sam Tristan Davis and One True King fancy a bit of it as well. This is competitive. Do you remember some of the previous winners of this race? They have gone on to success at Cheltenham, haven't they? Do you remember the Lunatic horse? What was it called? Oh, goodness gracious me. Hunt Ball.
Oh,
That won this race, did it?
Did, back in 2012.
It's a
What a
cracking
ride that was.
Huntball, Headhunter.
Present View did it as well.
Names.
For Snowdon's, that's Snowdon's festival winner, isn't it?
Yes, it
James
was.
Snowden.
We won it last year, horse that oh God.
My way. Mystical Clouds before that, another quick.
Well, Mystical Clouds runs tomorrow, actually, doesn't he? And John Butler's got hold of him now.
At Fonte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was his last run. He won this race in his last run for Alan King. Another Alan King winner on this card, of course.
Is this the last weekend now for Cheltenham Hopes?
Generally speaking, yeah. I mean, in the olden days, Pipey used to maybe get one in the Greatwood or the Imperial Cup and try and then win at Cheltenham, but it's not the done thing anymore.
I wonder.
Last year, the Moor Battle, we had the winner of the Moor Battle go on and land a race at the festival.
The shunter, he never misses a trick, Barry.
It takes a little more thought now to do the.
I was expecting to see more Irish representation in the Moor Battle. At the decks. There's not that much. Yeah, there's not that much. I was expecting to see more because the bonus is fatter, isn't it, basically?
Right. Oh, yes, it was.
That's next week anyway, up at Kelso.
Well, Emmett
You're going to be there, aren't you?
I'll be there.
Yeah, you'll be there for ITV.
I like the Moor Battle.
Your
Day.
track, I always
brilliant.
call it, don't
the
I?
Premier Chase from here, it's great. Great day.
Yeah, it's a great, yeah.
It's great what they've done there, turning that into a handicap, and the prize money is
Totally
fantastic. It was a great by the course executive. Great idea.
Cloth cap, of course, Barry. There's a good card
My
at Fairyhouse
Drogo
this
was
afternoon as well, isn't there? My Drogo one, of course. Yeah, that's right. There's a good card at Fairyhouse. The Bobby Joe as well, isn't there? Any second now comes out, etc.
Bobby Joe, yeah. We're keeping an eye on that as well for viewers.
Great stuff. So loads of anti-post selections coming your way. Will Knight Salute, our next race, of course, coming up at Kempton. Could he be a Triumph flyer? Let us know. We'll give you some shout-outs when it calms down a little bit. We'll be going to Lingfield after next for the Fast and Furious Heaver Sprint 130. Some real characters in there. Look trappy to my eye, but Barry really fancies Lord Rutherford to let you know. Right, pressure is on. How are you feeling, Quizmaster?
Yeah, fine. I mean, I'll let them run now. I just hope he jumps. That's the thing. I hope he jumps.
Okay, we're about to find out because Not a Role Model has gone on, unsurprisingly, with One True King. The Chameleon is up there as well, a winner last time out. Harry Cobden right up there. Patroclus as well. We had a bit of a think about it, didn't he? Was that ours?
Yeah,
in the mid?
It's okay. First fence.
All right, have a look at
Patroclus made a mistake there. Dayran was a little bit left, actually.
Maybe put off a bit by Patroclus, wasn't he? On the inside, Neil the Legend. They're going to ride him cold and go for luck, as they are with Phlegmatic, a course winner who does need things to fall right.
An early reminder for One True King.
All right, cheek pieces on the outside. Doesn't fancy it. Probably on livelier ground that he's got. What have we got coming up here then?
Oh no, it's gone.
No. Oh, the nap
It's
goes. You said all he needed to do was jump.
And he's missed 2 of the 3 fences he's actually taken.
Yeah.
And he's out of the race. The big week gamble then. Oh, is it going to be one of those days? Let's hope not.
Now.
The one thing to tell you is that Charlie Deutsch has got an easy lead on Sam Thomas's Not a Role Model, who has won over this course and distance. Could this be his big target today? Barry, after that fall, what's happened to the market, man?
Yeah, Protaculus 3.9 now, Not a Role Model 5.7, 3.65 Protaculus now, 5.5 Phlegmatic. So they're all in there with decent chances, aren't they?
Oh, you could hear some sighs. I bet it's like that at the track as well, isn't it? Loads of people would have backed him today,
It was too early to draw any conclusions at all, wasn't it?
It's a bit silly jumping, wasn't it?
He's always been a bit like that, but he'd been, in the last few races he's done at Cheltenham, he had been far cleverer, and you're thinking maybe he's got over that now. You know, it's made a man of him in those big races, but no.
It's a bit disappointing then, isn't it, when you think they've just ironed it out and then they come and it looked a bit buzzy and was all over the shop, really.
You got Patroclus running, though,
yeah,
at the same
no,
time.
I'm happy.
This one is now running in a nice little rhythm.
At the first, he looked at it a tiny bit, and actually watched him now ever since he's jumped neatly. He's in a really good position. he looks a really nice type of horse, actually, doesn't he?
Quite athletic looking there.
Yeah,
on
very
the
athletic
screen.
looking.
The race has calmed down as well, we should note. You know, the first few fences, there's a few that really wanted to make the running and be up there, but now it has settled down a little bit, and Charlie Deutsch is more or less getting what he wants and not a role model.
Yeah, okay, all right then. So Foxborough out the back as well. Barry mentioned some money for that. They're all going nicely within themselves. Basically, you can see there what we can see on the screen. That is verging on springish ground, isn't it? Basically, which is what we thought Dayram would want. I guess Patroclus now, Barry, is hardening all the time. Is he on the inside? But Phlegmatic coming in now as well.
Yeah, 5-2 each of two of them, Dave. Can't split them in running, and it's 6.4, not a role model, and 9 bar the 3 of them. So the market seems to think that's between the trio.
Yeah, Neil the Legend just dropping off them a little bit now.
And
This one
Harry's
is a
just
bit
put
hot.
himself on the inside a bit there on Phlegmatic.
One True King missed one, didn't he? There, I think for Sam. He started running a bit better, didn't he? And Sam doing what Sam Twiston Davis does, making a horse's mind up. Come on, let's have a piece of the action now. And desperate not for Charlie Deutsch to get his own way. It was a lot of people think that once Charlie Deutsch gets to the front, he's never for catching. So Phlegmatic warming up now, Keith.
Yeah, I like where Harry's put him, Phlegmatic there.
Yeah, he's. I mean, when the race has closed up a little bit, he has moved him into the back of the main field, and he's getting switched off and only surrendering a few lengths. So it's actually not a bad spot to be in. This is where it gets important, though, because this is where the ones in front, if they're going to make an early move, are going to do it, and Skelton doesn't want to get caught on heels.
No, absolutely. And Harry Cobden now, of course,
Game over
beat Foxborough
for
last time.
Nico.
Neil the Legend is going to have another P next to his name. Let's hope they're both all right. These are where the fences at Kempton are fantastic, aren't they? You see it in the King George. They're about to switch camera angles now, aren't they? If you don't meet that 5th last on a decent stride, you're in a bit of trouble, really.
5th last and 4th last
Cobden's
are
giving him
big
his
fences.
one a sweet ride, isn't he?
Yeah, he's absolutely. He's just winging it. He's got a horse in a good vein of form. But the eye continually drawn to Phlegmatic. Now even money you can see there. Patroclus still the one to catch, though. One True King now finding it too hot. Foxborough needs to jump a little bit better, I think. Has not a role model done too enough. It looks like he's about to get swallowed up. Look at this. This is cruisy. What's he going to... He's not always a horse that produces when you go for him.
No, Patroclus.
No,
he has been that. Well, I mean, Phlegmatic. No, well, he is a bit of a. It can be a bit of a thinker, I think, this horse. But yeah, well.
Nice way to put it.
The thinker. We're all
I'm
thinkers.
normally not that
Not
nice.
a role model sticking in there really gamely. Right,
it's
straightening for home now. 3 fences to
quite
go.
excited
3 furlongs
now.
to go as
This
well.
looks like Patroclus has been made a man of at
Come on.
Leicester, I think. He's really showing today, and
Jumping
he's
really well.
absolutely
Oh, yeah.
flown that as well. Phlegmatic wasn't great there. Now gets the Harry up from Harry Skelton, but here we go, look. This is where, in between the fences, this is where he shines. Patroclus just getting done for a little bit of Tola Chameleon, and
Yeah,
Foxborough,
he's
the old
getting
rivals
done.
there. Now Phlegmatic
Oh,
takes
yeah.
it up.
Come
He's going to
on.
go low, isn't he? Oh, yes.
he won
Okay,
this.
this is a horse that
He won
stays a
this.
bit further as well. They're
Oh,
sort of...
Switching,
Patroclus,
just
look
give
at
him a
Patroclus.
chance.
throwing
They're
his head
walking a
about.
little bit, aren't
Yeah.
they? He's rallying Patroclus. He's probably
But
going to
he's
be a
not
3
gonna-
miler in the making, you
Go
would
on.
imagine. Phlegmatic,
Go
up he
on.
goes.
Oh, he's terrible at that.
And this is a case of horse back up and rolling. First
Still.
race of the day goes the way of the Skeltons. Then Phlegmatic adds to his course success of yesteryear, and Foxborough gets the better of his old rival Le Chameleon for the places as well. Patroclus flattered to deceive. Barry, when did they go real crazy about Phlegmatic?
Yeah, he was 6s on jumping to second last, Dave. So it was pretty obvious the writing was on the wall for James Bowen on Patroclus, who hit a low of 1.98. So just a shade of odds on for Patroclus in running. Harry Cobden's main hit a low of 5.2, Le Chameleon. That had a Betfair SP of 11. Your winner had a Betfair SP of 6.42. Your favourite was Dayram Desert Jack, who went off of 5.5, 9-2.
All right, thank you, Barry. We are up and running, sort of.
Yeah, it was the universe giving me an extra kick on the way down. By
Am I gonna
horse
have to
called- horse
sort
called
of
Phlegmatic won the
bump
race to
start
my
you now?
nap of the day, fell at the 3rd. You know, it's giving me a hint there.
You have to stick with him on this, you see. Okay, 1 race down. Who was with it? Mally Draycott, I can see in the chat saying, boom, out there. All right, someone had it. Well done to you out there. We've got to go to Lingfield. Let's move on. Thick and fast the action this afternoon. We will be giving you your shout-outs. I can see the regulars are in the chat. Welcome along to the party. Because it is the Hever Sprint Stakes. Barry Orr, this is now not going to be run where it should be on Easter Friday, to my mind. They're going to be facing a straight track now at Newcastle for the first time. So quite what the form will mean, you know, in April, I'm not sure. You're not worried about that, though. You think you got the winner?
Yeah, well, the market's headed by 2 horses. They're sharing favouritism. Exalted Angel 3-8 and the same price for Tone de Baron. Mondamedge, that Elm Monkey is 5.6. 10.5 Lord Ridderford, 9.4 One Night Stand, and 10 Strong Power. So they're all single figures really in the betting. I like Lord Ridderford. He did me a couple of turns last year. He won this race last year as well, mind, although very different preparation. He just had one run so far in Wolverhampton where he finished third. Looks like he'll come on for the run. Obviously, they've got a flat campaign, solely a flat campaign in mind for him this year, whereas last year he was on the go during the winter months, predominantly in Wolverhampton. But this time around, like I said, just they gave him a bit of a break, came back, had his run as pipe opener, and I think 10.5 is a very, very fair price around this horse. So what we're going to do here, please, Keith, is we're going to have 25 quid win on him at 10.5. Again, happy to be a price taker. I think that's a knockout price. And in the 3-place market on the Betfair Exchange, he's currently 2.58. So he's a little over 6-4 to finish in the first 3. I think that's a knockout price. We're going to have 25 quid on him as well at 2.58. And again, happy to be a price taker at that. So it's just over 6-4.
Thanks, Barry. All right, then, if you want to get involved, you've got plenty of time to do so. Of course, safe gambling is our MO here. Don't have to play in every single race. We'll give you some fun, some raucous reaction. Do not worry about that. I like Exalted Angel. I think he's a bit trappy, but he loves this place. He hasn't won for a long time. He's got form with... Is this another kick for you on Ida Day, having to talk about Mondamedge?
Well, Mondamedge, I've got a wry smile when I saw Mondamedge. I remember he's a horse that everybody, he just creates a visceral reaction in everybody, good or bad.
Loves to hate Mondamedge.
There's his horse in training, isn't he?
Well, he is.
Yeah,
He doesn't stop.
He doesn't
just
stop.
probably don't stop him because
He loves Wolverhampton.
He eventually decided that he wanted to win races, and he's won about 3 in the last 5.
No one's been on.
Keels and I are just literally every time we back him, he doesn't win, and every single time we don't, he just wins. I mean, he's so talented.
Loads of people out there like that. You love to loathe these projects. He's never been out of the frame at Newcastle, so they're obviously looking towards over the final stage. 2 from 2 at Wolverhampton. Not so good at Southwell. He's never run here. So and he's going to need a strong pace to aim at, isn't he? Which he might get, because One Night Stand and Holly Doyle and Scott Dixon's 5-year-old will probably go on. Tone the Barone as well. Yeah. Another one, Barry, you're right.
He's sure to lead, yeah.
Lord Ridderford was in 1, if memory serves, when he won the race last year. I just thought it might set up for Exalted Angel, but this is tricky stuff.
Mondamedge as well, isn't he? This isn't the sort of track where you have to lead as late as possible. This right sort of track for him.
Down the outside.
Down the outside.
And
they call it the slowest furlong in racing on Lingfield's all-weather track. You can see some ridiculously slow finish. Yeah, you think you've got it, don't you? You're like, yes! And then coming down the outside, you can just see it happening. It's like a slow death. They come and pick you on the post.
Well, it's just so much of the race is in that last furlong, isn't it, at Lingfield?
It's probably the biggest talking track, Lingfield, amongst race readers, I would imagine. It's a tricky one to read. The camber there that you can't really see unless you go there. On the inside, I think it's deeper on the inside. I very rarely see horses winning up that far rail. I think it costs them a bit.
I think pretty much accepted that that's the case, I think.
Yes, I met some resistance to it.
You talked about a trappy race, Dave. Can you look back in our eye and tell me the last time there wasn't a trappy race at Lingfield?
Good question. What you mean, was there a very clear...
They're all trappy because of that last furlong thing, because of that...
You are right.
Doddle sprint.
Charlie Appleby rocked up with a horse called Pretend in 2015, 11 to 10 fav. Apart from that, you're looking at 9 to 2s, 6 to 1, 8 to 1s. Yeah, not a good record for favs actually. Just 2 in the last 10 years. Exalted Angel. Cole Burt though is again very, very solid trainer, isn't he? All year round. Horses don't tend to go for cold woolly periods.
No, not at all. I mean, this is the same colours as. That thing that won the Newcastle 6 furlong race on, I think it was just after we resumed after lockdown. Oof. There was a big race at Newcastle, a trial for the Commonwealth Cup. And a horse at Dubai Station.
Was that Fahey's?
No, it was definitely Carl Burke. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll bow to your superior knowledge.
He has all these horses that just, and, it's Lingfield's a very specialist track. And we're looking at all these horses, and some of them haven't run, but just about all the others have run here 4 times or fewer and won at least once. So you've got horses that have got 3 from 4 records, albeit in handicaps of marks in the 70s. You've got horses with 2 from 4 records and everything. So for me, I'm not I'm putting my hands up here. I'm not a massive Lingfield punter. I would know. I'm not betting in this race because I don't regard myself as knowing enough about the Lingfield form. When I want a fun bet in Lingfield or whatever, I'm looking at course records. I'm looking at horses that get there late. I'm looking at horses that can quicken very well. And I've gone for Lord Rutherford.
What do we make of the all-weather championships going to Newcastle?
It makes it. I mean, Newcastle is totally different. 10 years ago, when I watched a bit more all-weather racing, all the all-weather tracks were pretty similar, as in they were speed favouring for the most part. They were tight. Whereas now Newcastle's a totally different course to Lingfield and Wolverhampton, even Kempton.
They mirrored the old turf course, didn't they, in that rising finish, and everyone was expecting it to be set up for closes. It's not always the way. I find it almost impossible to read Newcastle.
Well, it was an impossible
on the
to
round
read.
track and on the straight as well.
It was a really hard turf track to read Newcastle when it was turf, and it's not got any easier for putting tapeter down. So it is a difficult course to read. I know guys that do all weather racing in the winter and they still go, look, if I've got one that's in my track or one that I'm really looking for coming out, and it turns up at Newcastle, sometimes that's a grown job because I don't know I can't be certain because it can change day to day. I think the reason Newcastle changes day to day to a large part is the wind.
This is what you get here on this show. You see, we can delve in, we can get our anoraks on a bit.
It is always it's a very exposed bit.
Why is it always so windy?
It's 2 miles from the water.
Geographical.
Yeah, it's just so close, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 2 miles from the water in the North Sea, and it's quite an exposed bit. And
you do feel for them in the depths of January, don't you, in December? Even this winter.
It's so windy up there.
When are we going to have snow? That's a question everyone's been asking, isn't it?
In the Alps.
we had it on Thursday.
Yeah, we had a bit.
Did you?
Yeah.
We don't get that down here in Costa del Buckinghamshire, you see. We don't have that.
It's probably too low as well. No, it's not about being south. It's just too low down.
We crave it as well. Here's a question. Cheltenham coming up. I think it's going to be soft ground. I don't know why. I think it's going to be like it has been. I think Dan Skelton was right with what he was saying about third time lucky. It was him that sort of planted the seed. We haven't had the deluges really, have we? It's been quite sporadic.
Can you talk me through the logic, please?
I think that winter will start to bear its teeth at some point. We had the storms, haven't we?
We need Thomas Schaffernacker for this, don't we?
Schaffernacker?
Yeah, the weatherman. We need Thomas Schaffernacker. He's the only one you can remember.
The things you don't expect to hear on a Saturday afternoon.
Lucy could come out and give us a guide.
Yeah.
What's happening? Because we should know.
No, what? We've had a deluge. We've absolutely flooded at home.
Mm-hmm. Nat sent me a WhatsApp when Storm Franklin and Eunice was cracking of her garden. Honestly, it looked like a normal day.
It was like this.
It was, and she was absolutely berated by it. But what's the weather like there over in Ireland, Barry? Is it balmy over there as well?
It's a bit overcast, a bit windy. Nothing special. Just a dull sort of spring come the last embers of winter sort of day.
All right, fair enough. Yes, spring is in the air.
So I'm on Tone the Barone anyway in this.
Are you? Had I not asked you?
In case
Sorry.
you were going to ask at some point.
We were talking about all things all weather and enjoying it, and of course, your nose. And we're off and running. Thank goodness you've got that in there. All right, Tone the Barone, where's he going to sit? Now, this is key because Holly Doyle will want to get to the front on one night stand. She's had to go round the houses to do so. The banging form, strong power, great combination of Alice Haynes on the all-weather and Kieran O'Neill. Lord Rutherford, that's the stalking posse you want. Tone the Barone pulling for his head. Nat doesn't like the look of this.
Well, he races freely.
Look at Mondamedge. Wow. Is he a giraffe?
No.
Tone the Barone looks massive.
Exalted Angel is just about the back marker coming in, but no problems. Have they given this one stolen march? As I said, slowest furlong in racing. It comes up. Lord Rutherford just found his page.
God, Tone the Barone.
Look at Mondamedge, the only one coming out the back. Exalted Angel, just forgotten how to win a little bit, isn't he? The closers are coming. Here it comes. She's not going to get gubbed, is she?
Not going to get them.
No, she's so good around there, is Holly Doyle. Mondamedge very nearly picked her up. Strong power was there as well. That, Barry, is a make all.
Yeah, they were nearly home by the time we got talking about the race. It was she was 2s on from turning in, would you believe? She went short and nothing could get to her. Mondamedge made a good fist of it, and Strong Power, I think, was third, was it? But yeah, one night stand. Great ride from Holly Doyle, like you said.
The race was notable for disappointments. I think Lord Rutherford just very tap for toe, wasn't he? Exalted Angel didn't really look like he wanted. Tone the Barone far too keen. That's not him.
No.
Just too wide. He's run an extra 30 yards.
That is a copybook Lingfield front running ride. Stick down the middle and just get a breather. Kick going in. And off you go. It was the only front runner on paper, but do you think they've let it slip a little bit?
Yeah, she's had her pants down, hasn't she? Holly's really, really good, and she's nicked that one.
Yeah, she has.
If you look on the pull-up when you're watching your replays later, if you're watching that, Mondomedge is way in front as well. So perfect. The Queen, of course, out there for many punters. Holly Doyle takes us away. That's our first race. Down, the Heaver Sprint. You'll be seeing that chap, I imagine, up at Newcastle next month, when Mondomedge will have another crack. Not next month, it's, of course, we're not March.
You would imagine the way those horses have run today that Newcastle would suit Mondomedge more.
He loves it. Yeah.
Yeah, and just coming out the pack to get them.
Probably is an anti-post book on it.
Flatter to deceive.
You'd hope.
Let's not get the red herring there.
People just can't. You can't mention Mondomedge without somebody. You're in a room with 6 people, and you mention Mondomedge.
Go, you swine.
And somebody will just cannot. They can't help themselves.
No.
Because he's a bookmaker's horse, Keith. He's a
spewing-
bookie's horse.
They will
Punters will be losing money on him all season, and the one time he does win, all the tipsters won't put him up because they'll be after jumping ship like they did last year.
I mean,
Yeah.
He's a bookie's horse.
Well, I remember we all smashed him in the Portland. We all really fancied him. And he didn't half let us down the next time he came out and won or something like that.
He won 3 of his next 4.
Yeah, did he?
Yeah.
Let's get
Yeah,
off
he
talking
did.
about Mondomedge. And shall we go to some juvenile hurdlers? Juveniles
yeah.
are in the studio. Let's get them out on the track at Kempton. Is there a Tritonic in the pack, Barry Orr?
Yeah, well, Knight Salute. Isn't he one of the highest rated 4-year-olds in the UK? He's 2.96 at the moment, a pulse of 167. Pleasant man. He seems a bit of a negative. Macca Devassi, who was put up by Kevin Blake and Tony Cabin on the Racing On a Better podcast, is out to 10.5. He's a bit of a negative. But Knight Salute's done nothing wrong, and the form of his last win in the Summit has been really franked by the runner-up, Porticello. But the trainer of the runner-up, Porticello, that day, Gary Moore, has Teddy Blue in here, and I was really impressed with him first time up, the way he travelled in Lingfield. Now, he was in against older horses that day, and he gave best to a mare laid on, but the way he travelled in that race on really, really bad ground, I was impressed with that, and just the way he took it up. But like I said, he gave best laid on. It was his first run in England. He had won over a mile 6 on good ground in St. Cloud and trained in France. So I think he has a nice chance at a nice price. He's currently 14 on the exchange. We're going to look to back him again, win in place, please, Keith. We're going to have 25 quid win. Happy to be a price taker at 14 here as well. And then in the place market, standard place terms here, 3 places. He's currently trading at 3.9, which is around the 4-1 mark. We're going to have 25 quid on him in the place as well. Very competitive race this. Paul Nichols says he wouldn't read much into the jockey bookings between Pleasant Man and Roband, because Briney rides a lot for the owners of Roband. And again, Pleasant Man, obviously.
Was it £20 each way or 25? Sorry, I was
25 win in place.
25
Win in
All
place.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Second race at Kempton. Third race of the day for us. 3:37 is when we go off air. The superbly competitive Gold Trophy, of course. Formerly the Racing Post Handicap Chase. When are we going to tire of saying that straight after that race? We always do it, don't we? Any employee of the Racing Post, probably race car out there. Oh, the old Racing Post Chase.
Well, yeah, we're far more inclined to see it. Yeah,
The one, the Gloria Victis one. That was when I first. Great
yeah.
memories. Of
Oh,
that.
yeah, Gloria. But the thing is, what the reason we talked about this came up on another Racing Post show, which I won't say the name of, obviously, because Betfair don't sponsor it. But it came up that
Feel free to.
It was in the know, and we talked. Keeley and Millington talked about how races, we talk about the Golden Miller being the Turners and all that. But the thing with the Racing Post, the old Racing Post Chase, and the Hennessy and the Whitbread, they don't have names. They don't have real names.
Yeah.
If the Hennessy had a real name, we'd call it the Ladbrokes Trophy.
I agree.
Something Ladbrokes Trophy. If the Whitbread had a real name, we wouldn't call it the Whitbread.
This debate started with the Turners, didn't it?
The Hennessy,
Because why not the Golden Miller? The Turner's Golden Miller or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, in a job I used to hold, the house style was to use the official name, not so we would always call the Ballymore the Baring Bingham, which is its real name. But nobody would understand what you're talking about, because everybody would call it the Ballymore or the Sun Alliance as it was, or everything else it was down the years. But was British Insurance the Albert Bartlett one that first year? Was that what the British Insurance was? Anyway, but you need the Albert Bartlett was a Spa, but it's always been the Albert Bartlett. It's
it was.
It's called the Spa Novices Hurdle.
Yeah.
So I think you just want to call it. You want these races to have real names, and then you can start calling them by the real names with the sponsors on the front. Keels was right, I think. He said you shouldn't be able to commandeer the race's name. You can get your name at the front of it, but you shouldn't,
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that as well. It was great to see Bruce back in this chair, wasn't it, earlier at the start of the week. This is the Adonis, though, and it always has been that. Before we get the tips going down the panel, and maybe hear from some of you out there, there's a new members club offer, I believe. Shall we get that up on screen? This is my turn to do a bit of housekeeping. There it is on it. How low can you go? You're saying out there. Stay ahead of the field then. Pay just $9.99 for your first month. It's usually $35.74 or something like that. Use the link in the video. Subscribe today. First month and you are off and running. See all the replays, got all the spotlights, of course. Replays are so important going into those spring festivals. So there you go. All right. I find it hard to see past Night Salute here, and I'm liking the fact he's drifting out a bit. He's course and distance winner. He's 1-1-1-1-1. Has he been slightly overlooked because we're just expecting the Irish after last year to take this Triumph Hurdle coming up?
Possibly, yeah. And I mean, he's not the most. Milton Harris wouldn't be the most fashionable trainer as well. I think we've got to allow for that a little bit. If the horse that was trained by Fergal O'Brien, say, I'm just saying that because Brennan's on him, had that sort of record, would be a lot more positive, I think. But I do think he is just a little bit. He's leading a poor division at the moment. How often do we see it that with the best British juvenile hurdler often isn't seen until the Adonis? You know, Henderson would often unleash one in the Adonis. King did it last year really with Tritonic. He had run at Ascot, but you know this is where we found out all about Tritonic was when he won this race. And yeah, so I think that's maybe why people are maybe waiting for something to go past him, because to be honest, yeah, he's look at his RPRs. He's not run to anything higher than 128 on RPRs. You barely get into the Fred Winter. The Boodles.
And yet he's got a mark of 137, hasn't he? Just explain that for people out there a little bit. Our handicappers always go a little bit lower with the juveniles, don't they? Yeah,
because the BHA handicapper has traditionally been extremely high on juvenile hurdlers, and I think it shows up in the results of the Boodles a lot. There's some horses that come into the Fred Winter that just have got no chance on what they've achieved, and where the BHA I think have done good things this year in terms of addressing the handicap system. They've enforced a bit of slippage almost that had crept in over the years. The juveniles, from what I've been watching, haven't been done to quite the same extent. And you know, Night Salute's 137. I suppose in other years he might have been a bit higher than that, but ultimately they think they're rating them lower than normal, when in fact they've not maybe allowed for the fact this is a rubbish division and they should be rating them lower still. So yeah, I think that's partly why. I mean, he's short enough, but I think that's people are expecting something to go past him.
Yeah, fair enough. Impulsive One, of course, has got some business with him, hasn't he? He's had a wind operation when he won at Musselburgh, and he won very well that day. Do you think you can have a crack at him now? Or?
No, I don't think the form will turn around. I think I was going to say exactly what Keith said. I can't get my head around it really, because if Night Salute maybe did have a different trainer name next to him, I think it might be a different story. But it's ludicrous because Milton Harris is flying.
I've always been a bit funny about that saying, if he was trained by someone else. I'm going to be a bit Melrose-like here, the insufferable rationalist as he calls himself. He's not trained by someone else. So it's like, you know, if he was trained by someone else, well, he's not trained by someone else. It's theoretical. If he was trained by someone else, you know what I mean? He might not. I just think it's crazy.
Yeah, but that's why he's overlooked.
I understand what you're trying to say.
So you said, is he overlooked?
He is
your first
trained by Milton Harris.
Yeah, but he is overlooked.
People will say if he was trained by Nichols, but he's not.
Yeah, but he's overlooked.
Well, that means you should be backing him then, doesn't it? Have you tipped him?
I have tipped him.
Yeah.
Good. Well, Catdale, you're logically
You were hoping
consistent.
I hadn't then. I sensed blood in your...
I was going to appear on the other side of your camera. I was going to go for you.
It's been a testing morning out there. They're going to try and catch me out this afternoon.
Why he's overlooked though.
Oh, it's great to have the guys back. Who does win then?
It's a Night Salute, absolutely. Night Salute. Yeah. But the thing about also to note with 4-year-olds is 4-year-olds can improve any time in the calendar year. 4-year-olds, They don't have like a set time when they're going to improve. 4-year-olds or 4-year-olds, they can improve at any stage. Nicky is a master at it. He's so good with his 4-year-olds. Yeah, I don't think it'd be turned around from Impulse One. Look, Pleasant Man, there's plenty to like about it, but I want to see them jump.
It's weird, isn't it? Barry, let's come to you on Pleasant Man, of course, Betfair ambassador Paul Nicholls. The last newcomer to take this was Zubair. That was trained by Paul, of course, in 2016. That took a massive walk in the market as well.
Yeah, but he won this with Sikander, didn't he? Was that first time up for him? And he went on to land the Triumph in 2011. He says about his 2 horses here that it's at that stage of the season. He's thrown them in here. If they're good enough to win, great. He knows where he's going with them. He'll be on to Cheltenham. If not, he's just going to keep their novice status for next season. So, you know, it's a win-win for him, really. But Pleasant Man is interesting. The irony that in his first run ever as a 2-year-old, he beat Pied Piper, who's now joint favourite for the Triumph Hurdle. He beat him first time up as a 2-year-old. So obviously they think an awful lot of him. They gave 175 grand for him. He's meant to school really well at home. They're really pleased with him. But, you know, when you check the market, he's still currently, he's around a 5-1 chance the last time I looked in the win market. So, you know, it's the market's kind of 6-1 chance in the market now. So the market's kind of dismissing him a little bit. And I suppose the Paul Nicholls stable form is being taken into account there as well. But he's not without a chance, that's for sure.
It was bought by Tom Malone, wasn't he, for 175 grand. Went over to Nichols and Max McNeil having a great...
Rightly so. I was going to come in. I mean, he's a horse I put up, Pleasant Man, for this.
Ah.
I was handicapping him in the summer. I was doing the stairs on the flat for Graham Ludwig. And if this, I know this is. I don't like this analysis normally. It's a bit glib, but if it can be applied anywhere, it can be the Adonis, where it's it's a fast juvenile hurdler for good horses. If this was a flat race, it'd be odds on. Yeah, you would.
On ratings, yes. And I'm going to counter that, and I'm going to enjoy this as well. I don't like horses. Alan King gets loads of them. Aga Khan cast off. They all want a mile 4. I think if you want mile 4 on the flat as a juvenile, you're almost certainly going to want 2 mile 4 over hurdles. It's just borne out a lot in my punting. This guy is a proper stayer.
Well, he's not, because what happened at Yarmouth, again, I've timed the finish, the last 3 furlongs at Yarmouth when he won on his last start for Roger Charlton. They finished at 115%. So they were going 2 seconds a furlong faster from 3 furlongs.
That was his last win back in September.
Yeah, good form, that. Just on bare form. Marshall Plan.
Yeah, it's good horse, Marshall Plan.
Yeah, and that's won well since. Bodyline won its next start, I think. Prince Alex had come into it in really good form.
It's the Ascot form, isn't it, where he really came into the...
But the top speed tells you it was a poor overall time, but the finishing speed, they finished, as I say, the last 3 furlongs, they went 2 seconds a furlong quicker than the rest of the race. It's a race where it's not a race that a plodder was going to win. He had to quicken to win that race. So he's not as slow as you think. He's a very good horse. If he's schooled well, that's all the better. And, in a race like the Adonis, it is a race where flat form often and flat speed often comes into it, because they've been running, they're not running at Chepstow and Hawk-Deep Mud anymore. They're running at Kempton on what's becoming spring ground. So I've put up Pleasant Man, and he's my selection. The sort of, if this was a flat race and they took all the hurdles away, the second favourite on flat form would arguably be this Venetia Williams horse, the Famous Five. So this is his first run for Venetia, having come from France. Now, he last run in France in August, and the France Galop site, which, by the way, is, and for punters that do their own research, get yourself a France Galop account, because it's a great resource for French form. He went to Britain in September, so he's been with Venetia for quite a while before being seen. But some of his flat form in France is pretty good.
Why is he so big in the market?
Perhaps because he's been here that long without running.
Seen him.
We've not seen him. But he is on. If you just had it on flat form, he would be. Oh, he'd be 8s for this. Shorter. He is. He's won some Class 2 sort of conditioned races. He was rated about 93, the equivalent on the flat in France, which you can't say it's like for like, but it gives you a bit of a clue. He's actually got black type. I mean, he was humped when he was 7.5 lengths third out of 6, but it's got black type. And on the flat. So he's going to be a good horse at some point. He's not been running at rubbish tracks. He's been running at Longchamp. He's got one at Vichy, which would be a second tier track in France. It's not it's not backwater. It's a decent enough track. So yeah, he's got a lot to like about this horse. The market tells you maybe it's not today.
No, it wasn't cheap though, was he?
No, he was.
£250,000.
Well, he shouldn't be.
No, he shouldn't be.
He was a 95 horse on the flat in France. So
it's not the sort of race you associate Venetia with, is it? She'll hate it if she hears me saying that, but
maybe that's why he's 18-1 as well, because Paul Nicholls brings one in like this. He's won it with Zarkandar and horses like that.
It has to start.
He's won 3 Fred Winters. Venetia's never won a Fred Winters. She's not, has she? She's not, and you're right, it's not the sort of horse we associate with Venetia Williams. But she's having the season of her life, to be fair.
Is she?
Oh, of course she is.
Yeah.
No question.
Oh, yeah, I mean, she's absolutely... And that, I can't believe that first grade 1 at Sandown in like 20 years. It's absolutely...
Long press.
Do you know what she said? Do you know what Venetia said at Sandown? She said, because, back in the day, she just said it just seemed so much easier. She had more and more horses. She said it was so much easier until it just got harder and harder and harder. And she was absolutely beaming.
It's all about the stock, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose Gary Moore, a couple of weeks ago, he's really happy with his stock this year. It's all about the stock.
Going great guns, yeah.
They've had to pay $250,000 for this horse. We were talking off air, weren't we, Nat? How, 10 years ago, the Famous Five would have cost $100,000.
Yeah.
Whereas now, $250,000 to get a 95 horse. You'd be expecting, you could just about buy a horse that was in the Arc for that.
Yeah, you just can't, the prices, it's just gone insane. You just can't get those, what you feel is like that bargain, one that you can improve, one that they're all just absolutely...
It's why the concentration is happening in fewer and fewer hands, because it's all going to the same owners, because it's the deepest pockets of owners that are getting the horses, and they'll sign up with their favourite trainers. So it's not, the money, the wed's not, this is where part of the issue of the lopsided national hunt sort of diet comes from a little bit, because the prices are so high. It's the ownership structure is getting imbalanced. If the ownership structure gets imbalanced, the trainer side gets imbalanced, and we end up in a situation we're in.
Yeah.
But you know, it's great to see horses like Long Press. I don't know how much he costs. I bet he wasn't cheap.
No.
Well, he's quite small, Long Press. I've watched him. I've only seen him on the telly. He looks pretty small.
Could be some Turner's Chase, couldn't it?
I hope he runs in the 3. I don't know. What?
No, she won't. She said that she
miles.
said she would not
Was it
change.
you that said that in the paper
Seagull,
the
I
other
think.
day?
I think it's
Yeah,
Seagull.
she
that
said
one.
no.
Right,
I had to sort of. Has he
Said
gone
she
over
wouldn't
it?
change
It was
what
Tom.
had
You're
broken.
right. He did.
Seagull really likes him. Thinks he'll win everything.
But
But and I can see it.
Cameras, didn't
Manisha
she? And
said,
he
why would
mentioned it
she
then.
change the ingredients? That's exactly
I
what
just
she
don't.
said.
I mean, look, he may well improve for a proper trip, but to run in the RSA without going over 3 miles.
It's a sensible thing to do because you've got a choice of either taking on
Mullins
Gallop on
used to do it a
Deschamps.
little bit, didn't he? Save them for the distance on the day. I remember.
Well, you don't want the reason horses don't run in the RSA more now isn't just the Turners. Yes, exist as one thing, but also you can leave horses. You can leave a race there a little bit in the RSA. It's a hard race for
Last
novices.
2 winners haven't been seen since of that, I don't think.
Is that right? Who won it the year before?
Monkfish. I
He
will
did
get
run
to that.
afterwards. He did one.
Did he?
He ran at Punchestown, didn't he?
Who was it?
He got beat by Cole
Monkfish,
Levy.
yes, of course, but they both have taken injuries into the close season is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
All right, we're digressing a little bit. Barry, you mentioned Pied Piper. If Mocha Devassi wins this, we're going to see surely some trimming up, aren't we, in that Triumph market? You just know it will happen.
I'm not so sure. Vauban and him obviously are steady away at the top of the market. If the Pied Piper form was to be franked even further, I don't think you can shorten them much. Like, what can you do without pushing out the rest? And if the truth be told, the English 4-year-olds look a very moderate bunch, really.
Night Salute might have something to say about that, mightn't he? Let's hope so. This is going to be exciting. Good luck wherever you're playing out there. It's the 150. Of course, after this, we've got the Dovecote coming up as well. Big half an hour coming up for Gary Moore. Just to remind you of the tips, Barry's taking something of a fly with Teddy Blue, who thinks he's definitely going to improve off that Fontwell run. I'm Night Salute. Nat's Night Salute. And you're taking a flyer as well, of sorts, with Pleasant Man.
Well, yeah, I'm taking a flyer on a 100 flat horse. A 100 flat horse.
You miss handicapping those stayers on the flat, don't you? I could tell every
I loved
Monday.
it. But I've been sitting on the edges of handicapping all my career.
I was
And
once
finally
privy
got
to a
the
Zoom call between him and Rodway. You should have seen them. They were
I think
studious.
he's going to be
as you like.
handy on Pleasant Man.
I can see it. The Nichols
That
putting
makes
it straight
sense,
into a grade
Barry.
2. Nichols knows what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it must have been schooling okay at home.
Well, yeah, it can't have been schooling badly.
No,
if he's putting it in
exactly.
there.
I'm going to give
Straight
you a
into
quote
grade 2.
from Phlegmatic if I can. Jonathan Harding, Dan Skelton says, I'm going to leave him now to the Bet365 Gold Cup. I want him mad fresh going into that. He's an extreme stayer because of the way he jumps and travels and is part of the races.
Right out of the Nichols playbook, that one.
There you are, yeah, very much so. Absolutely. God, there's a lot of business going back into this Bet365 Gold Cup because of last year, and you get the feeling Inrillo might be warming up for another
Well,
crack at it.
well, that's the only reason I've not. I mean, Inrillo, I thought he's had a bit of a break coming into this. I thought this will be a spin for the whip, the Bet 365.
Well, that's what I was thinking about Kitty's Lies as well for Christian Williams, but you could tell
I don't know.
yesterday.
Yeah, what is the? I don't
He's
know
a
what
buzzer for Christian, that is.
Is he fancy today?
Yeah, he does,
Oh, right.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I just don't know what because the good thing with Christian Williams is there's always a plan.
Yeah.
But what's
Here
the
we
plan
go.
with Kitty's Light?
We're off and running then. Okay, with a lovely spin up to that, didn't we? The Adonis, great to hear the views of Keith, Nat and Barry there. Away we do go though, and it's Greystone. In contrast to some horses who've really sort of been bought flashy sorts off the flat. This guy wasn't much cop on the flat. They all had a little bit of a look at that, but he's really transformed himself since he's gone hurdling for Lucy Wadham, a horse I'm a definite fan of. He's being trapped by Impulsive One. Iroko, the McManus colours, big price for the Greenhalls. He's in third. Looking for Night Salute, just tracking Pleasant Man at the moment. Big Boy Bobby, interesting horse going forward, I think, for Alan King. Of course, won this last year with Tritonic. Robo. For Chris Giles, Bryony Frost and Paul Nichols, big price, but it's got a nice little sit there. Teddy Blue at the moment. I tell you what, it must be going to pace here, aren't
Very
they?
strong out, aren't they?
The clock says 35 miles an
35.
hour. Don't fall off your chair.
Don't go Tommel. They're going at 35 miles an hour out there.
Oh dear Lord, never do
Steady
that again,
on,
man.
big man. Steady
Never
on.
do. Can't do Tomo impressions here. We've been looking at the clock all throughout, Barry, the winter, and it's just said 30 miles an hour. They're trapping here.
33 they're going now, yeah, would you believe? Jumping the first down the back straight. I think my horse must be schooled in blindfolds because he hasn't jumped the hurdle.
He's
He really
absolutely
hasn't,
all
Teddy
over the
Blue.
shop.
You're suggesting that
At the head of
Prescott's
the market,
training him.
Impulsive One and Night Salute, your first and second favourite at 2.98 and 3.396. Pleasant Man, he's been a bit sloppy in his jumping, but
Yeah,
they've
he
just
has.
settled down a little now, maybe.
He's been getting right into the roots of the flights, Pleasant Man. He's been taking an extra stride a lot of the time.
I reckon Jamie Moore's going to have very sore biceps tomorrow.
Do you remember when Foozle Raffles won this? They went a right lick that day, didn't they? This is reminding me a little bit of that.
And they have steadied it a little bit now.
Impressive.
They're down to 29
Famous
miles an hour
five is
there.
gone anyway. The market says he's out to 1,000, so he must have pulled up.
Okay, all right. Thanks for that, Barry. So Charlie Deutsch, not the day for Venetia Williams' expensive import. Let's hope he is all right. Catching my eye a little bit is Mocha Devassi. That's that Piper form. Night Salute, beautiful inside run, Nat.
Yeah, I'm actually, my eyes are drawn a little bit to Impulsive One, who I think's got himself into quite a nice rhythm here, to be honest with you. Just the eyes drawn, and that's it, isn't it, in running? That's what you do, whatever catches your eye at the moment. For me,
Phlegmatic in the
it's
first, very
Impulsive
much
One.
so. Yeah, Robbo on the outside, feeling the pace a little bit. Here comes Mocha Devassi then for Chester Williams and Jane Williams. Pleasant man coming back into it, Keith.
Yeah, he is. He's been made up his mind at the last couple of flights, and he's been a little bit better, but he is a horse. You can tell he's just learning all the way round here.
Teddy Blue catching my eye a bit as well, in between the hurdles.
Oh, he's much better there, was Pleasant.
Night Salute hasn't been great the last two hurdles there. A little bit novicey, you would say, for a horse that's having its fifth run.
Pleasant man's gone.
Yeah, Pleasant
no,
man's
he's
just
had-
absolutely feeling the pinch,
looks,
isn't he?
I think he looks like he's gasped.
They're
He's
turning
just
for him.
dropped
You think
like
that
a
might be a breather.
Yeah.
Look at Teddy Blue catching on. He's tracking the favourite on the inside. That's where you want to be.
He travelled so well,
Doesn't he?
Last day as well, but yeah, the better ground he might get home, but
A lot of them getting
very
outpaced now.
chance, isn't he?
Mocha Devassi out of it, looking like
Even
big boy
Night
Blue.
Salute.
Salute.
Better
The
Dave
favourite's
now?
even money now.
No,
64 on Night Salute.
This is a
The race is not good.
two-horse race, this, Barry, and I reckon you're one of them. Greystone then leads in with 2 to jump. Into this famous home straight we go. How much has he got left? Night Salute now
Come
goes
on.
for it. Back on the bridle. Paddy Brennan's loving this ride, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
This is a big day in the sun at the moment, but there is a target on his back.
Get on.
And it's Teddy Blue at a right price for Barry Orton. He wasn't great there. Night Salute. Is he just feeling the pinch a little bit? Teddy Blue coming. This would be something of an upset unless you're
What's
with
he doing
Barry.
here?
Greystone not totally
Go
out of it.
on,
I do he
Jimmy.
switched on
Yeah,
the
he's got him.
Listen to
He's got
Barry
him.
giving it the large. It's all on the last jump. Oh no, he's thrown it away. He left his legs in
the
it.
legs gone in as well.
In between the
Come
flights,
on,
this
Night
horse
Salute.
looked like a worldie, didn't he? Get him to jump, and we have got a good one.
Oh.
But Night Salute shows his experience, came up best at the last, well on top at the line. Teddy Blue coming back for some more. We'll let Barry regroup himself as Greystone runs on for third. Iroko back in fourth. Muddling form, I would suggest. Mr. Melrose.
Possibly. Teddy Blue, I've just checked, he's not in the Fred Winter. Because he wouldn't be would he be qualified with
He's
2
just
runs?
had the one run, hasn't he? So
Yeah, because
when
the
do
grade
weights come
3.
out? Yeah, he's
because
on in it.
Qualified.
You'll
Yeah,
get
sure.
you'll get a
Winner of a-
you'll get a handicap mark, but you won't be qualified for a grade 3.
Got
because
to have 3 runs.
That's right, yeah.
It's the welfare.
Yeah, but he's in the Triumph.
He's in the Triumph, yeah.
Listen, you'd roll the dice, wouldn't you, and keep him a novice for next year. Maybe you see that happening quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That was a good shout, Barry. Not really sure where it came from. I mean, I watched that.
I knew
I watched that
once
Fogwell
Melrose
run.
said coming to the last that he had him. I knew there was more to it than that. The Magpie struck again. That
Yeah.
Melrose, the Magpie. I swear to God, without fail. Traded at 1.15 for 204 quid. Teddy Blue.
It's not
We
just
get our
that he hit
place
it.
money, but I could have done with him winning. That would have been a nice few quid for the
Watching the
charity.
Watching replay now, he takes the hurdle with him, but then he
came
catches
up
his back
really
leg.
nice
Watch,
at the second
catches
last
the back
as well.
legs in
His
the
hind
ground.
legs.
The hind leg just
Hind
catches
legs
him.
go on him. I'd say if he jumps the last, he'd win.
Oh, definitely, because he's coming right back
Yeah,
at
I'd
the end.
say
So
so.
I don't know. What do we do with Night Salute now? Happy days. Pressure's off.
Yeah, I mean, look, not mind-blowingly incredible, but I personally, for hurdler, it's okay if they skip through them a bit. It didn't bosh it out like Teddy Blue.
Teddy
He actually
Blue.
skipped through it, but they're taught like that. They've got to be quick, slick through the air. And when they land, they've got to get going. I thought it was pleasing enough, Dave. Was it absolutely wow? No.
Yeah.
Not
I
in
don't
my
think the Irish
opinion.
are losing too much sleep,
Neither
are
do
they?
I. I don't.
Do you even decide to maybe try and duck the Irish a little bit and just save them for entry?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Possibly. This is Milton Harris, though, and he's having a great season.
Well, that's the
He's
thing.
just won the
I guess,
Adonis.
I don't. You're going to not be annoyed for me saying this, but if he was trained by Nichols,
If he was trained by anyone else, he'd be going to
well, no,
entry.
I think Nichols would save him
He's
for entry.
not.
Nichols, is, but it's a smaller yard. Have got a good horse. They're going to Gosden, aren't they? They're going to roll the big dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll go for the triumph.
Well, talking of big dice, let's go to Lingfield then. I'll tell you what, the quotes from Paddy Brennan, you're going to see in your members club later on, coming from John Harding. I'll read it out as soon as it comes into me. That'll be key there. It was an interesting moment where Paddy thought he was coming back onto the bridle, and then he had to work. Very interesting to see what Paddy made of that. I can't,
Unchanged
he got
12 for the Triumph hurdle, and
unchanged.
the runner-up is 16 from 25. But you can see where they're coming from unchanged. Like if the second had to jump the last, he wins. So
I
Yeah.
wouldn't have been backing him at anything.
a rare nod afterwards to the traders after something's won for Cheltenham, I think. All right, okay, Lord North time, isn't it? Winter Derby, delighted to say. Seen some real crackers in the race over the years, but Barry, this would be one of the highest races we've ever had.
Yeah. He was meant to go to Riyadh, wasn't he, for the Saudi race? But they opted instead to keep him at home for some, I suppose, an easier target, it has to be said. What time are we here? 2:05. Just getting out my anti-post quotes there, but he's 2.32, so he's a bit of a negative. He was odds on when we first went up with the race, but he's 2.30 now. 4.1 Alan Kerr. Fancy Man, who has the advantage of fitness over them all, is 4.3. Forrest Dean, who looks like he's the pace angle maybe here, is 20. And Al Zarakan, who's definite place angle here, is 27. I'm going to lay the top two in the market. Ooh. We're going to Dutch lay the two of them, please. We're going to take 25 quid at 2.32 out of Lord North. And we're also going to take 25 quid out of Alan Kerr at 4.1, please. So, we're going to be holding 50 quid. The field will be winning us 50 quid. Alan Kerr, which is the one I really don't fancy, is a loser for 50. And Lord North, probably just a loser for around a tenner. So happy to take them on, have the rest of the field running for us here.
Yeah, including the trial winner, Fancy Man. Of course, last year's winner, Forrest Dean, back in a much deeper race. Definitely second string for the Gosdens this time. Al Zakaran on the Holly going for the quick double, of course. Barnell, really interesting horse in those colours, the Goshen colours. I wonder if he was bought probably for hurdling, but he finds himself here. And Pistoletto, the big outside.
Can we just have a second to pause for Barry's arithmetic there? Where he figured out what his position would be without looking at the screen. I looked at the screen. Think about the Betfair Exchange, and we're showing off the functionality of the Betfair Exchange in this show, don't you know? And I like when it shows you immediately the position you're in when you start doing something like Dutch laying. But Barry, he cracked it straight off.
Why are you surprised?
I shouldn't be. I'm not surprised. I just thought I'd take a moment to acknowledge it.
Well, there we are. Yeah. All right, a doffing of the cap then for Barry. Or we'll let him enjoy that one.
I don't know. I have it on screen here as well.
There's the modesty of the man.
I'll show you behind the Wizard's curtain.
There's a saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a saying. All right, Lord North, 123 rated over. So what? He's got £8 ahead of Alan Kerr at level weights. But Alan Kerr has got a rather big scalp, hasn't he?
He has got a big scalp, but Lord North's just going to suit Lingfield, isn't he? The way
he's a Dubawi, great record on polytrack, unsurprisingly.
And it's just this, well, it's a good record everywhere. Dubawi's one of the best sires in the world, well, possibly the best now, Leo's dead. And yeah, he's always been a bit of a quickener. He's got form, and when he won the Prince of Wales, won it by quickening really well. You know, his form in Dubai is a bit the same. He seems a horse that's going to suit Lingfield, and therefore, with the ability he's got, and with that supposition about the track, he just needs to be 90% fit, doesn't he?
Yes, that was in your email this morning.
It was. I mean, it's a no bet race for me again. I would like to see Lord North do it. By the way, talk about Gosden rolling the big dice. Remember when we won a Cambridgeshire with this thing? The Gosden quote. Now you've got to forgive a little bit of language here, but it's quoting Gosden verbatim. He says, "You've got to be a bit of a wanker if you're worried about handicap mark. If you've got a 3-year-old that's a group horse, and you've got to be a bit of a wanker to worry about handicap mark." And then he won a Cambridgeshire with this thing. Yeah, he's gone on to win about 3 Group 1s. And he knew it was that good then because he backed.
Good birthday that day. Who got a terrible run, and it turns out he bumped properly.
Wasn't there an Alan King thing? Wouldn't Thor Hammer Hansen was on the second. Beringer, miles clear everything else. Yeah. And this thing just picked it up and carried it.
How does he look now?
He's got a strange clip, hasn't he? A bit of a trace clip, stops at his bum, keep his bum warm. You can only go on what people say, and no name drop, but I just know someone that's been speaking to the yard, and I think first thing to say is they'll be very, very disappointed if he doesn't win. Yes, Barry's absolutely right. Saudi was going to be the plan, and they've chosen this for a reason. Like Keith alluded to, like 80, 90% on it is a class act in this, and I do see him win. Oh, Barry, God, I'm kind of in contradiction to Barry, because I actually fancy forecasting this. Lord North wins it to me, and I do like Alan Kerr for William Haggis. I think he's interesting.
All right.
I don't think he can beat Lord North. He looks in danger. Look, last season's Group 2, and before chasing home Mishriff in the Juddmonte. So yeah, there's a few things like Kieran Fallon going great guns. So to make this race more interesting for me, I'd like to have a forecast, because I think it's good fun, isn't it? It's good crack.
Is Alan Kerr prepping for Dubai?
I have no idea. I've noticed this is. I tell you what, this is the one weekend of the year where you probably no, because I've looked at these races today and had a good look at both these races. But besides that, it would have been a bad time of year to ask me about flat racing because I'm so deep into it. I couldn't tell you the Derby favourite in February most of the time. It's like. Do you remember the story about when Bjorn Borg used to play the French Open and then he couldn't hit the ball the first day he played on grass because he was so used to clay? That's what March is like to me after Cheltenham. To try to get back into the flat a bit. For the first week or so, I can't hit the ball.
Whispers of the Lincoln out there at the moment, aren't there? Which is a bit filthy.
Tom Seagull likes to take Lincoln week off, so I end up doing price-wise in the Lincoln quite a lot.
Yes.
I put up a horse that ended up improving about a stone and it finished fourth in the Lincoln.
I remember that now, last year.
What was it called again? I've forgotten the name. I backed that horse 5 times last year and I've forgotten its name.
I mean, this is a classy renewal, isn't it? Any other year, Fancy Man would have thought, the Hannons after winning 21 days ago, they would have thought to themselves, right, we're going to win the Winter Derby now. And along come Alenco, running in.
You would feel a little bit put out.
He's got shrift form as well, hasn't he? You would. I think you would.
You've gone to the Winter Derby and Lord North and Alenco have turned up. A horse that people were backing at just about single figures for the Arc has turned up and he's second favourite.
Yeah. Yeah. I had Jonathan Harding in this studio yesterday doing What a Shout, and he napped Fancy Man. I was a little bit surprised by that, but he watches quite a bit of all-weather racing, I think. And
does he?
He's taking...
I've never really spoken to Jonathan about racing. I'm not sure what his MO is on actually betting on racing. He's a crack journalist.
Yeah.
But I've never spoken to him about what do you fancy, Jonathan?
You said crack, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right.
Crack team, that sort of thing.
I thought I might have had a P on the end. He was fabulous yesterday, but we had him in mainly talking about the Oshin news, of course.
I got my earpiece into your side. I was like, did he say crap journalist?
It was a quick one. All right, so where are we? 2 minutes away then, Barry. Lord North, Nat says Yard will be very disappointed if he doesn't win. I think everyone expects that. But you are taking him on, aren't you? You think he might be a little bit rusty? What is he with? Is that the angle?
I think the two at the head of the market aren't going to get hard races. These literally is not their derby, whereas for Fancy Man, it is. I think Forest and Dean is going to be thereabouts, and Holly's going to go off in front again. They're not going to give her too much rope. Like, the class could come to the top in terms of Lord North or Alenker, and class could get them through, but you couldn't see them getting very hard races here today with a long season ahead.
When it's Haggis, I absolutely. I'm thinking to myself, what is he doing? It must be Dubai, mustn't it? It's got to be. Because this is a horse that they would, you could run him in eclipses, couldn't you? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
What Dubai race? Does he go Dubai Turf? Does he go Shima Classic?
Shima, isn't it? I would imagine. Yeah. Haggis likes to go out there as well. Big pot, of course.
Oh, it's a big pot, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a lot of form on bad ground, so...
Well, he's an Alderflug, isn't he?
Oh, he's Adlerflug, is he?
Rodway loves the slop of Alderflug.
Adlerflug. Well, I backed Adlerflug for the Arc many years ago. 130 on Betfair.
Well, there you go.
But I was a bit young then and didn't realise that winning the German Derby 13 lengths in the slot meant nothing.
So going in then. Yeah, well, exactly. There you are, absolutely. All right, so interesting to see Alan Kerr back. Definite improver at 4. Can he topple Lord North? Lord North a little bit on his toes, isn't he, out the back there? OK, Holly Doyle goes in. That quick double for the Queen to the punters. Going to really enjoy this one. Expect an attack off the bend. That's for sure, and we'll tell you exactly when that's happening. Good luck wherever you're playing then in the 2022 Winter Derby. They are off and running in the 205 then, and Fancy Man looks like they're not going to hang around, just going to take a sit behind Holly Doll. Mile and a quarter, a little bit sharp for Alan Carr. He's right up there.
Desperate to get tucked in, isn't he?
Desperate.
He's in fourth.
Desperate to get
He's settled all right there, isn't he, I think? Forrester Dean,
Just.
stablemate just off in Pistoletto, and the other big outsider, Barn Owl, former Roger Charlton, cost a few quid. Now with Gary Moore, he's already getting outpaced on his first run back. Maybe watch out for him hurdling down the line. But it is course and distance with a very progressive horse for Archie Watson, Holly Doyle. Something of an upset? Yes, it will be. 7 furlongs out if this can hang on. Keith, Alan Kurt, right on the coattails.
Yeah, and moved right up to chase there. It's interesting that the two big guns are a bit wide here. I'd have thought that it'd probably been... Well, Havlin did try and get tucked in. I thought they'd want to get tucked in for a bit of cover because you'd imagine they'd be a bit fresh. Because as Barry says, yes, they're not going to be 100% fit. They might still be a little bit fresh, and Lord North was a little bit going in, wasn't he? And he has been a little bit free through the race, but he's luckily, I think Havlin's quite glad that Kieran Fallon's gone on a little bit.
Well, it wasn't a problem in the turf, was it, first time out? You really ought to be winning these sort of races. But Alan Carr, like we say, Barry, pole position at the moment, they're around about 5 furlongs out?
Yeah, 5-4 Lord North, 3-1 Alan Kerr, and 3-1 Fancy Man.
Okay, all right, so Fancy Man, then the trial winner. Alan Kerr now starting to feel the pinch as
Well,
Holly Doyle
does
starts to warm it up.
Yeah.
Get out.
Havlin?
No, Fancy Man.
Oh,
He's out. Yep, he's
Yeah, he's got the run there.
It's-
Okay, here comes the class angle then.
Come on.
Rab Havlin, he's on the
Fallon's gone for it.
coattail. He
Fallon's
wants to
gone.
do it for pace, doesn't he, basically? Alan Kerr going outside. The Havlin's in exactly the right position here, but Fancy Man has stuck to the inside. Now Lord North needs to get going. Is he going to get going?
Come on.
The fitness there, he's having a blow. Alan Kerr will stay, we know that. Lord North isn't going to get
Come
there,
on,
I don't
Natalie,
think,
get the
guys.
forecast,
I think Alan
Natalie.
Kerr's got this. Haggis has pulled off a
Looking at it.
masterstroke. Lord North came up short. The finishing speed was not there. Badly needed that run. Fancy Man back in third. Run the race of his life probably. Bumped into 2 in the Winter Derby. He attacked off the bend. Big year ahead for Kieran Fallon. Barry Orr.
Yeah, Lord North hit a low 1.77, would you believe? But Fancy
Really?
yeah, 177 Lord North. Fancy Man hit a low of 2.12. No, I thought Fancy Man, once he got the gap and he couldn't go with the winner. Lord North had a easy enough race, I think, and Alan Kerr, yeah, he was
good.
convincing winner at the finish.
bloody good
Yeah.
ride from Kieran Fallon, I thought.
He looked in trouble, didn't he? And it was
he's
obviously the pace, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He's a horse that stays 1 mile 4 well.
He's basically said to Havlin, look, if you're fit enough to go past me, bash on, big man.
There was a moment in
he's
the
not-
home straight,
he's
I
not
think,
able to do
when Lord North looked like my class might come and he got to within a length, I think. But that's probably when he went.
But
"Ooh."
he's had to make the ground up and he's not been able to because he's not quite fit. And Fallon's, he's leveraged that for all he could. And
Definitely.
Great ride.
Yeah.
I'm delighted to go a big shout out Alan Kurt's company. We've got the forecast the wrong way round.
Did you not reverse it? No. All right, there you go.
Nope.
All right, then we bid farewell to Lingfield for now. Anyway, we'll be back there later in the year. Just quickly, it is a big year for Kieran Fallon, of course. I assume
Yeah, it
Murphy's
is.
not going to be seen.
Again, I don't know. I've forgotten absolutely everything I know about flat racing. What's the big Dubai Qatar horses this year?
Oh, good question. Very good question. That is a ridiculous question, isn't
I know.
it?
Why can't we think of that off the top of our heads?
Probably don't. I
The
don't
thing
know.
is, in September you could ask me. I won't tell you what's favourite for the Gold Cup in September.
There's no roaring lion out there at the moment, is there?
There's
I don't
not,
think.
and Kamiko's obviously gone as well. And yeah, I'm not sure what there is.
Let
for
us
this
know
year,
anyway. I
but-
haven't heard from anyone out there this afternoon. We're going to get to you shortly. Don't worry about it. The producers are in there. We're getting them all up. All right, so we're cooking with gas all of a sudden, aren't we? We've got around about, an hour and a half left on the show for you. Welcome along. If you're just joining the party, myself, Dave Orton, Natalie Green, Keith Melrose and Barry Orr from Betfair along the way. Where are we going next? Back to
It's
Pendle.
the Pendle.
Pendle. Novice Chase. Of course it is. Barry, take it away then. There's the market up on the screen. Brian Hughes coming down south.
Yeah. 2 to field, Manila Drama, 2 to 1 at the moment, 3 to 1 Pictori, Miller Bank the same price. Fantastic Lady 6.4. She's a little bit negative, having been into 7 to 2 at one stage. She's out to 11 to 2, and 30 Go a Lil is the outsider of the field. Manila Drama, I thought, was opposable, and I thought Pictori just went toe to toe at Long Press last day. Paid the price for that late on. Paul Nichols says in his blog that kind of gave a bit of a sound, a bit of a gurgle that day. Likes the idea, back to a flat track, 2.5 miles, better ground. Really played to his strengths here. Former Betfair hurdle winner, and I'm going to give him another chance. And I think 3 to 1 is an eminently generous price. So we're going to have 50 quid win on Pictori, please.
Yeah.
Keith, happy to be a price taker here at 4.0.
225 then,
They're
plenty
on.
of time to get involved. Pick Dory, Paul Nichols, bidding for a 7th win in the racing recently. In these colours as well.
I've
so
not
a quick
counted,
double, wouldn't it?
but yeah, it's the
Tamarack de Matha.
Tamarack de Mahan colours, but the Johnny De La Haye, surname on this as well for Johnny De La Haye.
Yeah.
It's not just that Nichols, I don't know why it is, maybe Barry could know, but it must be the day that Johnny De La Haye gets a box or something, because it's not just, it always seems to be these De La Haye horses that he wins this race with. And I think he might do it again. Because of this record Nichols has in the Pendle, when this horse won at Ascot in December, as he crossed the line, I was writing my notes, I said, this is his Pendle winner then. I was surprised he turned up in the Scilly Isles. Nichols' MO would have told me he would have gone straight to the Pendle. And if anything, he might have done himself a little bit it was only 3 weeks ago, the Scilly Isles. He might not have done himself great favour.
It was that weekend as well.
But
wasn't it,
if he was
wasn't
coming here fresh,
it? The Dolos weekend.
it was.
Don't-
If he'd come here fresh, I'd have backed this horse at 6 to 4.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I really didn't.
Are you all putting him up?
No way. I didn't like him at all at Sandown. It was completely legless.
I wonder whether he was a bit flattered by the Ascot form as well.
Absolutely legless at Sandown. Something I hate to see. May as well have been going backwards for me. Minella Drama, formed Donald Briner in. I really like Minella Drama. Donald has said he thinks he's a Grade 1 performer. If Donald really thinks that, surely he's got to win this. If he genuinely thinks he's a Grade 1 performer. I mean,
well, he's got the My Drogo hurdles form at Aintree, isn't he? And
yeah,
things
look,
like
he's
that.
not the biggest either.
His jumping's getting better.
He's a bit of a pocket rocket, but Donald, that is kind of his type, these pocket rockets. We see it time and time again. He was always, he ran well to the line last time and always in control at Haydock. I like that. I'm quite warm on Manila Drama, and I could have egg on my face with Pick Dory, but I just can't get away from that Sandown day when it really, really put me off.
It does make a big difference, honestly. It does. I'd have been backing him at 6-4 if he was here fresh. But
I agree.
Are you putting him up then?
Well, Pick Dory, yes, definitely. I'm backing him at 3-1. Barry said it as well. I absolutely agree. 3-1, even with those concerns, is far too big. I can't believe he's short. He's bigger actually on the exchange. I'm looking at the screen now than Miller's Bank, who was looking too slow when he came down in the dipper. He can't be quick enough for this, can he?
Was Pick Dory in the Nassalam race as well? It was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he fell 4 out. He was going to win it.
He was going to win it. He was going to beat him that day, wasn't
he? He got too excited because they come off that last bend at Newbury and they
So
fly
they have
that last fence.
He's just got one piece of form, Miller's Bank, isn't it, Aintree? Which makes you think he's up to winning this. The wind operation for Alex Hales, he did that with Huntsman's. Is it Huntsman's jog that he used to have, Alex Hales? I remember he gave him a wind operation. It worked wonders with him. He's unseated the last race, as we have mentioned, the Nassalam race at Newbury. Pick Dory also came down that crazy race, and no good when beaten behind long press as well. So
he might have won that Newbury race had he not come down Miller's Bank, but he wouldn't have had Pick Dory stood up.
But he likes the sound surface. Abracadabra's form is there in the book over hurdles, isn't it? It was an 80-1 shot that day, and he was only just off buzz. He beat Bouvardere and Brewing Up a Storm and Silver Streak and Not So Sleepy. McFabulous, Ballyandy, Song for Someone, Jason the Militant were all in that race as well. So it shows you what he can do. This is a trappy race.
It's a bit of late season Jackanory, that, isn't it?
What, Aintree form?
Sometimes Aintree form can be a bit, bit fantastical.
I don't think we should talk about fantastical. I don't think we should ignore the mare, actually. Fantastic lady in this.
I've put her up.
Really impressed with her.
Yeah, I think she could be a really big danger in this. One reason to Milano Drama is he's really not easy either. He's quite quirky. His tail goes like this at the start. He's a real buzzy type. But he has to be on his own away from other horses. I think they'll do exactly, which works well on a small field because he's going to be able to get that clear run. But Fantastic Lady, yeah, she has caught my eye a few times looking at this race.
Well, she couldn't have won easier at Bangor. I mean, I'm not that interested in backing her because of the price she is, but when she won at Bangor, she was off 129. Yeah. You thought, she's worth a go in something better.
It's exactly what they're doing here.
But
they're rolling the dice, aren't
they? By the way, if you're a mare, a 2.5 mile chasing mare, you've got so many easier options than the Pendle. There's too many options for 2.5 mile chasing mares as far as I'm concerned.
What are they doing here, man?
I mean, you could run against all those races Zambella wins.
These are the Mighty Man colours, aren't they?
Oh, they are, yeah. I'd forgotten about that. Good old Mighty Man.
Brilliant. The pocket rocket, wasn't he? Yeah. Spoke to Henry Daly about him.
But she's definitely worth a step up in grade and worth a go at a race at a higher level.
Do you know what I quite like about her? I think on paper, the race map, as you might call it, if you're an Aussie like me, it maps extremely well for her, and there's a lot of potential pace on here. Miller's Bank likes to crack on. Miller's Drama won't be too far off. I mean, at Haydock last time he won it 3-2 out, didn't he? Basically.
Yeah, no, he was the best horse in that race, and he was promised to suit going up in trip, and he did.
He showed a lot of speed, didn't he, on that bad ground? And Go a Lil is also likes to get on with it a bit as well. I bet you the Tristan Davis lot of this one's sort of tilting at windmills a little bit.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, Miller's Bank a little bit as well. We're doing it to keep up.
Shall we get some social? I was wondering where I was going with that.
Did you mention Pick Dory, by the way?
Yes.
And the going forward, because he can't help himself.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at potentially 3 front runners in this. Maybe, if not 4. Who's the odd one out? Fantastic Lady. She just 15 days ago was soon enough at Bangor, wasn't it? But there we are. Finally, some social interaction. Under starters orders, says Dave, Keith, and Natalie. What about Barry as well? Pick him in there. What is your handicap shout for Cheltenham? This isn't in the notes.
No, but it'll be in here. Just kind of look it up.
We'll let you gather yourselves unless you've got an obvious one.
Well, I've got a bit of a sort of story. early shout for a Cheltenham handicap was always Kiltini Briggs, because they told he was getting aimed at it. He was 25 to 1.
You did a piece the other day, didn't you, for the
I did,
ultimate?
and I just said 141. He's probably a little. He wants 3 miles. He does jump well. He goes from the front, which really works in these Cheltenham handicaps. Him, and then I saw the entries for the Ultima, and I saw that Corach Ramblers are and he's still 140.
Yeah,
That's
a bit filthy, that one, isn't it? Because he's back at Cheltenham, isn't he? It was a fiddly mistake he made last time.
it was. I think
you
he
like
was,
Corach Rambler?
Oh yeah, good horse.
Oh, God, I hate it.
Oh, he might be a dog.
That's the giraffe, isn't it? She
Can't,
called him a giraffe last week.
can't keep his body straight.
Yeah, he's a monkey, but he's massively talented. He's so I
Quite
cannot
fun, that race, isn't it?
I can't in good faith pretend Kiltini Briggs is better handicapped than him.
So
Even though I
Ultimate,
fancy Kilkenny.
Ultimate is Max McNeil's race, that, isn't it? Ultimate.
Oh,
of
did
course.
he own Ultima? Did
Yeah,
they? I didn't know that.
So that's the tie there.
Well, they knew, because somebody's put him up for the plate, and I wanted to have a word because they've said Ultima. They've
he's
said
gonna go
Ultima.
Ultima.
And he's always promised to suit 3 miles better.
Get them on the phone immediately. This is
He's
betting
always,
against the racing post.
always promised to suit 3 miles. Although his form is in small field races where he's quickened really well, but he has always promised. His dam's a half sister or a full sister to Ballabriggs, who won the Grand National, but he also won the Kinmure. So yeah, I think Kiltini Briggs has always been the sort of one for me. I can't pretend he's better handicapped than Corach Rambler. I've backed both.
Right, okay. So Keith Melrose, handicap of the Ultima, the first day. So we'll leave it at that for now, and we'll let the other guys scramble around. Don't we?
No, mine's just because I just love Does He Know, so I can't really have a pick in the.
You're surprised he only went up £4 for that?
No, I thought he was a bit flattered.
Well,
Yeah.
he still whacked Doyen Breed, who's pretty much the same rating, wasn't it? Was he giving him weight as well? Can't
Yeah,
remember.
gave him £3, I think.
Yeah, there you go. So it's like, I don't know, I was a bit surprised.
Oh, I like it, and I can't help but obviously love him at Cheltenham. But he's good.
He'll
He's a
fall,
good story.
won't he?
Jacqueline Coward.
Oh, no, I think does he know? He doesn't.
He could end up with top weight in the Ultima, does he know?
152.
If I have a look at the weights, if okay, maybe something Irish that hasn't been assigned yet might be
What's
above him.
Frodon?
160.
Yeah, but he's not going to run, is he? Frodon, they made this big thing, didn't they, earlier in the year? But there was a bit of uproar about that. Frodon not running at Cheltenham.
Well, it was mad not to give him an entry. You know, for Mr. Volk's got 250 quid in his pocket, I'm sure, to just give him the Ryanair entry. No point running him in the Gold Cup. He'll never stay a Gold Cup, not in his life. But the Ryanair entry would have made sense.
Well, and it's a previous winner, isn't it? Not running at the festival, you know.
I thought it was a bit rash to not enter him in the Ryanair. I can see why they did it, but
Yeah.
I think if you want to, I think that, I was absolutely with them not entering the Gold Cup. There's no point in that horse running in the Gold Cup.
But he's not entered. He's entered in the Ultimate.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is entering the Ultima. I know. He'd probably run, wouldn't
But that was the thing. I was surprised to see his entry.
could
there, you know.
run.
He could run.
He could run.
He was
He's
supposed to be
won-
running
he's won
today,
a
wasn't
handicap off the same mark in Cheltenham before.
he?
he? was
a
entered
bad handicap,
in
that.
the anti-post long-range decks for this at the early closers, wasn't he? For the Coral Trophy.
No, he was, yeah, right
We had a
enough.
chat about that.
He
Didn't
was,
we? We were saying about Hendo knew the weights was going to go up. So
was it West Approach he beat that when he won off 164? West Approach tanked on his outside and decided he didn't fancy it again.
it's good to see him
And
bounce back this year.
that was the day Frodon won off 164. I think.
I'm going to throw one in for the Ultima as well.
Go on then.
And I was a little bit disappointed. Close your ears, Whaley Cohens. That the Whaley Cohens had bought off Paul Byrne.
Oh, yeah, Noble Yates. I backed that for the National.
When they said it was national, I was like, oh, come on. Because you watch him back behind a hoist in your last time. That had screamed Cheltenham handicap.
Well, what happened, I'll tell you exactly what happened to Noble Yates. He needed to run, and he'd run a week before and actually shaped as if a miss. They ran in the following week because they needed to run him to get him qualified for the National.
Because it looked like a strange turn-up, didn't it?
Oh, no, because you knew before the evening entries came out. He was in the Masters and he was in the Towton.
At Sandown,
and he
yeah.
knew they had to run over fences again, and they had to finish in the first 4 in a 3 mile plus handicap chase. So they turned up in the Towton, which has never had 5 runners since time immemorial, and just had to get round to get qualified for the
I
National.
mean, I
That's
don't want to
exactly
call
what
it
they did.
filthy, but it was filthy.
Oh, it's
Just
not-
like, oh, that's good.
It was pretty obviously a means to an end.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
just
so
was
obvious
surprised
do
to
it
see
that
those
way.
colours then adorning him on the race card, because it's all about one race, isn't it, when those guys buy something?
Oh yeah, well,
The
I think
entry fences.
I
Is
think
he a
it's an absolute.
7-year-old?
It's an absolute. Yeah, it is. It's an absolute masterstroke from
You
Paul
backed
Byrne.
him for this year's national.
Yeah. Because as soon
It's
as
been a strange year, hasn't it? It's
I
been
saw
a
the
strange
entries.
couple of years. If a 7-year-old wins the national, none of us will be surprised now.
I'll tell you exactly what I did the day
First
the
thing you
national
tick off.
national entries came out. I went through the list of entries on Racing Admin and the betting lists on an odds comparison site, and I saw which horses that were entered that hadn't been quoted, and I noted all their names down. I thought, "It's Noble Yates. That's that. Yeah, that's that Emmett Mullins horse." And I thought at that point, at some point, this is going to become a bit of a cause célèbre, this horse for the National. And I noticed he was in that weekend on 2 races, and I thought, you know exactly what's going to happen here. So I backed him that day for the National.
All right, that's the ultimate. It's on the first day. You asked us what a handicap shout was. I think we've given you a couple there, haven't we? Some very interesting horses to look at. Barry, I see that the Grade 3 Norman Colfer winning fair juvenile hurdle went to Ikar Alen, a horse that we thought would run well at, Christmas meeting. Not Christmas meeting, sorry.
Dublin Racing Festival.
Yeah. And is he a potential player for the Boodles?
No.
I think he'll go Triumph.
So. Yeah. We quoted he's 20 from 33 for the Triumph. I don't think JP has a strong hand there. Could potentially go for the Bulls. He's enters in it, but we didn't do anything with the prices.
All right, okay.
For the Bulls.
It looks like a spicy race, the Boodles, the Fred Winter this year.
You
talk about filthy.
Possible.
Do you remember when we were doing was it the December or the Cheltenham meeting when I said Richie and Willie Mullins had one entered in a handicap? They did the Arthur Moore trick to get him entered. No intention of running whatsoever. To get see what the handicap might think. And of course, you know who I'm talking about.
Watch out. Jennings wrote about it in the Racing Post today, didn't he?
Yeah,
has he done that?
He did do a piece, yeah.
I've had it slated for 2 weeks. I'm going to write about that on Friday. So watch out, Friday's Racing Post.
Are you?
Well, I am, because I'm going to list them all.
All the horses that have been...
Jennings won't have listed them.
No.
I list them.
Well, it used to be the old Arthur Moore trick, didn't it, Barry, the Irish, get them up. Tiger Cry was always his grand annual, wasn't it? You'd see him entered earlier in the season.
Well, Elliott's the man now. Elliott's the guy who does it most now.
Yeah,
Elliott does it. Oh, he does it a bit.
But he is favourite currently for the Boodles, the Fred Winter, and he's we don't know anything about him, do we? It's going to be one of those absolutely unexposed free runs in France. Blah blah blah. But the jungle drums are beating about him. It was the stable tour, wasn't it? Of course, this week at Willie Mullins.
Yeah.
All and sundry went there.
Heavy depends on your weather forecast, Dave, doesn't it?
What?
Gaelic warrior in France, all the heavy. Yeah, love slop.
Does he? All right, you know more about him than I do then.
No, just.
Have you bet him? That's like a sly sort of like, I know everything about this horse.
No, I haven't actually. No. I mean, look at it. I mean, God, my computer can't scroll down enough. All these colours. It's absolutely bedlam, isn't it? Looking at that, it really is. That is really tricky.
It's on the Wednesday, isn't it?
Boodles.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday now.
Is it Tuesday?
Yeah, it used to be the Wednesday. It's now back to Tuesday. Yeah, no, it's tricky. Just last year, I guess it moved to the Tuesday to let the Grand Annual fit in on the Wednesday.
All right. Okay.
So yeah, it's a horrible. It's never a race
No.
Never a race I've fancied.
No apologies for digressing there. Then we were asked about handicap shouts. We could talk about Cheltenham. All the previews are coming out soon. Barry, I'm looking forward to going down to Ditch Eats to see Paul Nicholls. That's coming up in a couple of Mondays' time, isn't it? Or Tuesday even?
Yeah, it is Monday the 7th, isn't it, Dave? You're going to Nicholls to Ditch Eat yourself, Vanessa Ryle.
You're brave enough to send me back down there.
Yeah. Oh well, you earned your stripes last year, so you were first on the team sheet this time round.
I was very comfy on that sofa, and I got told we're moving rooms as well. And I stupidly put a knit on, and I got redder and redder and redder as it went. It's available to see on YouTube, actually. So we're really looking forward to that. You have Benny Riles coming down with me as well, and we are going to get the insight from the champion trainer for Betfair as well. Cannot wait for that going down. Previews are plenty coming out. Are you doing any previews or anything like that? Is it something you do?
Yeah, I used to do loads actually, but at race courses. So I ended up going around the whole country.
What, Donny?
Sedgefield. No, but go miles away. Jackberry House, but I prefer to do it on podcast now because I'm too tired for the festival. Right. I've been zipping around the country for weeks.
Pandemic suited someone then.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, don't have to move now, do we, of course. All right. So listen, come on, let's have some more Cheltenham shouts out there. But this is the Pendle. Will we see something for the Turners turning up on the third day of the festival? At the moment, we thought there'd be plenty of pace on. Interestingly, Miller's Bank is not going to have a piece of that because it is Manella Drama on the inside. You see where he wears that hood. And they're all over okay because Pictori, like Keith said, has got one way of running. He's doing it. He's just about shading the lead, actually. Slightly surprised that Fantastic Lady is on the outside in third. I thought he might be ridden a bit more cold. Go a Lil as well, contrasting tactics for him as well, as Fantastic Lady had a little bit of a think about the second. Keith, you've seen them, all their positions. What's the brain saying?
Pictori's not as free as he might have been. He's got him settled, just cruising along without having to fight for his head, which I'm quite pleased with. We're not got anything mad going on here. We'll have to just what they'll probably do is they'll probably do this for 3/4 of a circuit, and after they jump that ditch, that ditch where it always looks like something pings it. And after that, they'll probably start racing.
You think they're going a married man's gallop as well?
Oh, don't I hate that?
What's the clock saying?
29, 30.
30!
30.
Ding ding. Of course it is. It never changes.
She looks nice, doesn't she? This fantastic lady. Looks a nice lady.
The
Nice
Hanburys
running
just
style.
have good-looking horses.
Very
don't they,
good
Hanburys,
quality. Yeah, nice.
Go a little right out the back. So, Melodrama, what do you reckon?
Yeah, no, happy. No, this is exactly what Melodrama needs. Like, honestly, it needs to be kept away. I don't mean he's going to start, like, getting aggressive, but just needs to have that clear run.
Jumping has been
Brian
the issue,
Hughes-
isn't it, with him? It has, obviously, at Haydock last time, slightly softer fences, was it?
Yeah, you could definitely say that. But look, Brian knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He's just, I think as long as he doesn't go for any crazy manoeuvres with his jumping, you're probably better off just popping away and then
He
hoping.
probably just didn't want Cobden to get away from him, did he? He probably wanted to just keep Cobden in his sights a little bit, and he's happy to lead now.
Yeah, but he's letting him. He's really getting to lovely little rhythm there. Actually,
Miller's Bank's got in a good rhythm for a horse that's unseated the last couple. Very interesting to see what the wind operation does about him on ground hill like as well. Okay then, Barry, we've got a circuit left to go. Manila Drama just in front.
Yeah, 274 Manila, 3.8 Pick Dory. It's 4 Miller Bank. Fantastic Lady just drifting out to 8.6 and 26 Go a Lil. But yeah, they seem to be matching each other up front, Manila and Pick Dory. I've been impressed the way Pick Dory's jumping. He's been quite neat and tidy over his fences. But Manila Drama and Brian Hughes just seem to have the call at the moment in the market.
He's pinging off that ground as well, Pick Dory.
Yeah,
Isn't he?
yeah, and Manila Drama's a little bit too. He's looking a little bit keener, if anything, actually. Manila Drama.
Yeah. You
So
probably don't want
these
to be doing
fences
that in this
matter.
country.
You know, once if you can ping these, it's the position you get into for that turn into the back straight, really, because the back straight's where they'll start racing.
What do we make of Fantastic Lady?
Yeah, I mean,
She's in third. Watch her. Oh, fiddled it a little bit.
yeah,
doing
she
everything
stepped
she-
it a bit, didn't she? But nothing.
Yeah.
I don't think Nico's. You know, he's doing exactly what he wanted to do. So he's, you know,
From memory, this is a race where they tend to, prominent racers tend to do quite well. I mean, it's a track where prominent racers do well anyway, isn't it? Okay, Fantastic Lady, just gone back maybe a length or so. Melodrama now clearly
steadied
in
up. I
front.
think a bit there. I don't
What does the
think
clock say?
they've gone below the 30 mark.
It's 29 now.
There's a 14.74 second furlong, which I just said it's not that slow. But here, so they'll jump
Key
this
jump
fence
now.
and they'll
Yeah,
start
I like
racing.
Fantastic Lady here. I think she's.
He's hurdled that Pick Dory. Look at him.
Yeah, he's going really, really well in himself. How much did he leave behind?
Goalil's
Behind non-press?
just
We'll find
feeling
out.
it. You can tell they're starting to race. Goalil's just feeling it a bit.
Yeah, and they've gone 31 miles an hour. You're quite right,
Hey.
Keith.
Oh, you
Over
love
they
that.
go.
Drama's
Go a
a bit
little
sketchy
out the
there.
back at the moment. Going okay, but has ground to make up. Miller's Bank maybe just dropped a
Yeah.
length. Feeling it slightly. What has Melodrama got left? That's the question. Brian Hughes, you just don't know what he's going to have.
No, you
when
don't.
He shakes
Oh,
the reins.
he's not
and
jumping
again, he's
back.
fiddled
Wasn't
that
the
one.
best.
He's being out-jumped, though, isn't he, by
Yep.
Pick Dory?
Yeah,
He
he
is.
is.
He's
Pick
getting
Dory's-
over them fine.
Pick
but
Dory is going very slightly left, I would say, if anything.
not ideal for
Melodrama's not
Fantastic
putting up
Lady
the
then.
best jumping round right now, but
Here we go then. We're starting to warm up.
The mare's cracked.
Yeah,
She's
the mare
just-
has just come off the bridle there, yeah.
She's just a
Miller's
little bit
Bank's just
outpaced.
been niggled for about half a mile now.
We're talking about some good horses here, guys, aren't we? You know, horses that have got, Betfair hurdle form, as Barry said, My Drogo, Grade 1 form. Now she's coming back a little bit. Miller, the only one that's gone at the moment is Go a Lil. Really like this
And even
mare's
she's-
attitude,
even-
but
even
how
Go a
much
Lil's
have they
only
got
four
left
off.
in the tank up front? Here we come then. 3 out. Nat, can you call it?
How's your speed?
I'm not training Dave.
Oh, they're jumping here.
Miller
Trust.
Bank your favourite at even money now.
Oh, he's
Wow,
finding.
okay, here he comes.
He's
Look, he's
rolling.
filling his lungs. Even money?
Why?
He must be coming through, is he? Yeah, now he's coming up.
Fantastic Lady's gone favourite now.
Come on then, on the outside. What have you got then? She's a right old mare, this.
Oh.
Win, lose or draw, I think. And she's
Oh, what a
just
race
left
this
her legs
is.
there.
4
Four
could
abreast
win.
then, coming to the line. At the moment, it's still Pick Dory. Here comes Miller's Bank. Manila Drama's cooked.
Come on,
Too
Harry.
keen early.
Come on, Harry.
The mare has cracked as well. You can hear Barry going for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, he gives him a tap and over he goes. Absolutely
Oh.
lovely. It's going to be a 7th winner in the Pendle for Team Nichols. Johnny Delahaye loves this race. Have we seen another certainly there? Miller's Bank absolutely put himself back on track as well. The 2 old rivals crossing the line. Well done, Barry.
Yeah, well done, Barry.
That was a weird in-running race. That really, really was. Pick Dory hit a high of 20 in running.
Did people just
When?
assume he was going to choke? Because
Manila Drama hit a low of 2.36 for 100 quid. You had Miller's Bank hit a low of 1.21. So
What?
5-1 on Miller's Bank for 156 quid. And then also Fantastic Lady she hit a low of even money for 64 quid.
What
I don't know what race I was looking at, but they're the numbers for you guys.
What did the winner go? So what did the winner go, Barry?
Say again?
What did the winner hit? What was the high?
The winner hit a high of 20. That mightn't be much now. Just let me get the graph back up here. There was small, nothing at 20, 18 for a quid, 15 for 2 quid, 11 quid at 12.5. At 10, there was 34 quid. But it's more the in-running lows of the other protagonists in the race, like Miller's Bank, Fantastic Lady, and Manila Drama. Crazy short that they all traded. But
is this
good performance from the winner.
Is this a rare instance of people overthinking it in running?
Well, I would wager it's when Manila Drama started to crack, and they probably assumed, that would be my theory about it. They probably thought
they're just going.
Pick Dory did as well.
I mean, the assume Pick Dory's not going to pick up particularly.
You watch back that last fence, isn't it great?
Oh, but you threw him at it. It was the old.
Absolutely.
When you see a jockey giving a horse a tap as they jump a fence, what do you think of? I think of one specific instance.
Tell me.
Oh, it's before I was born though. It was John Joe and Don Run.
Blimey.
Remember that? The last thing.
That's quite a good.
He gives it a tap as they fly the last.
What do we do with
Quite
Pick Dory?
when you do
Let's
that,
play
though.
the programme book game. We've got
Pick
plenty
Dory.
of time. 3 o'clock is our next.
Oh, this goes in
You don't see it very often anymore. So you don't. Just before about to take off, like it must take an awful lot of a balance for a jockey to do that.
If you're on it, didn't you love to see that?
You
That
don't
was
see it
great.
much. No, he properly threw him at it, didn't he?
You're doing it with them at home, aren't you? You know,
Look,
you're
I was
really-
against it, and I thought that was brilliant. I thought jumping was brilliant. It was a really great performance.
In Nichols we trust.
Yeah, no, that was great. I mean,
He goes, man. What is it? The manifesto of the 2.5 mile race? What's it? No. What is it?
You're suggesting it's Aintree now?
Yeah, it's entry, definitely.
Because
he's not got entry. He's not entered it, Cheltenham.
Right, there we
No,
are.
he's not.
Okay, they've left him out of it. All right, okay, because pre-Sandown and the Silly Eyes, there was a bit of talk about him being the best British Turner's horse, obviously. But
I thought he was.
Did he keep him for air last year? All Nichols' horses were wrong at air, weren't they? It didn't travel up or
Would you
something
have
like that.
any more concern about Nichols' stable form now?
I think that's something we can put a line through, isn't it, Barry? Or
Also, but
not all firing.
I mean, personally, I'd have thought. I mean, Pick Doherty should be beating beating Miller's Bank more than he did, arguably. But no, I'm not.
I know, but the concern maybe with Pick Doherty was that he didn't finish out his race in Ascot. He finished out his race there cleanly, and during that Ascot, that was the period when they were really
He did find. Yeah,
that's
you're absolutely right there. He did find there. He wasn't sort of, because when Nichols tends to have quiet spells, they are rare, obviously, because he's so good, but it is the first sign that Nichols is having a quiet spell. The horses don't see their races out, and he plainly did see that out. He found loads. So yeah, no, you're quite right actually. Even though strictly on form, I'd have thought Pick Doherty would be a better horse than Miller's Bank to a greater extent than what we saw there. You'd have to be encouraged by how he saw his race out.
He's got a relatively interesting array of stars left this afternoon, isn't there? Two real, sort of project horses, I might say, in Lalor and Rillo.
Well, one of the biggest springers of the day has been one of his, and that it's when we're off air. It's that 410, the 2 mile 5 handicap hurl. There's been a massive springer in it, hasn't there?
Dargiani.
Was that the race, or was it a later one than that? Was it the 445? Maybe the last race. It's an Italian name, Def Pangiani or something.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, he's had a winner at Chepstow as well earlier on in the day. He's got a very interesting 4-year-old coming up in the Dovecote. 4-year-olds can take in the Dovecote, and he's running Isio there again. That's that by perform. We might have expected to see the Jane Williams horse run a bit better, might have in the Adonis, but he beat him without blowing out his candle, I suppose.
Wasn't from the Adonis? Wasn't there about 4 or 5 turning in that had a chance? And the Jane Williams horse was one of them, wasn't it?
Just didn't really pick up.
No.
All right, we've got plenty of time then now to our next 25.
It would have been a good.
we've got ages, haven't we?
We have got ages.
It'd have been a good time for your Cheltenham handicap selections, wouldn't it?
It's coming back. Shall we get them back out? Barry, have you got one for the handicaps, Barry? You usually do by this point, don't you?
No, I don't. Not all the weights are out. Weights are out the first, aren't they? That Tuesday?
It's coming out
Tuesday
next
it is,
week,
yeah.
isn't it?
Tuesday this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't even bother looking at
sure
them
you
until I
had
see the
one
weights
this
on
time
Tuesday.
last
Like,
year.
I'd have a little idea, a couple of fancies maybe, but I wouldn't be putting anything up till I see those weights come through on Tuesday.
And if you're likely to put up an Irish trained horses, I'm going to assume Barry probably is, then you do need to wait for the weights
It
to come.
depends on how much the English handicapper is going to penalise them. Like obviously this year, Keith, you'd know better than most, the English handicapper has very aggressively dropped
Yeah, so
the
definitely.
marks of UK runners, and he's been, obviously the complete opposite in terms of Irish runners. They penalised them quite heavily. Like in previous years, it might have been an average of maybe £3.5 an Irish handicapper would get on his Irish mark. But recently, like it seems to be a little bit more. They're a little bit more ambitious, the UK handicappers, in terms of what they can pile onto Irish runners. So
I did have a look,
it's going to be a big talking point on Tuesday.
It will be. I had a little look at the Grand National weights came out, and that suggested that certainly at that level, I mean, we're talking 145 plus horses here, so maybe at that level it does congregate a little bit, and you can't do too much. But it does suggest that he wasn't being terribly harsh on the Irish horses. It suggested that their marks hadn't gone up that much relative to last year. Now, it might just be that Ireland are entering lesser horses, and the fact that they've gone up is a sign that they are getting harshly treated. But they're definitely dropping the Brits. That is beyond question. There's a horse running in the Eider, actually, we were talking about earlier today with Graham Rodway, Lakeview Lads, who if that last year, if that horse had had this season last season, it'd be rated 149 still. But it's rated 142 now. It's that sort of horse the BHA handicapper has been dropping really, really quickly this year. That horse has gone down about £13.
What's your favourite handicap of the week?
At Cheltenham.
Well, he was dropped £4 for pulling up behind Royal Pagaille last night.
Yeah, well...
This is Lakeview, is it? We'll stick with that.
Lakeview, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, look, there's been a lot of talk about it. I mean...
It'll be a big talking point on Tuesday for sure. But it's also when you're weighing up, how many winners the Irish are going to have at the festival. The line on the exchange at the moment is 19. But the handicaps is going to go a long way to determining how Irish runners do, obviously, at the festival this year. And with the UK runners seem to be, aggressively dropped the way they have by the handicapper, you'd have to think that the UK will keep a lot of those races at home this year.
Well, last year the races that Britain did win were in a lot. Well, at least two of them were the handicap chases, and so they've not got much to gain there. We looking even just at last year, we won the Grand Annual last year. We won the Ultima last year. So
when you look at the likes of the Boodles, the County Hurl, races like that historically are going to Irish runners that it seems to be well in.
Is aggressive dropping going to matter in the Martin Pipe when there's a Galopin de Champs?
I'm really glad that you mentioned the Martin Pipe. I've been waiting to jump in.
Because
it's an outlier though, the Martin that race, isn't it? In terms of some of the Grade 1 horses that have gone and won with it. Like one year, Michael O'Leary said his worst horse in training won it and went on to be a Grade 1 horse. You know what I mean?
Slowly,
so it is an outlier, that race.
Oh, it is. But what I'm saying, over hurdles, you're full of horses that are on the way up and are probably Grade 1 class, and it doesn't matter what they get rated, really. Whereas the aggressive dropping matters more in handicap chases, because these are older horses that have been racing in most cases for at least 2 seasons, and sometimes 4, 5, 6. And that's when the aggressive dropping comes in, with the handicap chases more than the hurdles.
But not only the dropping then, Keith, then you have like in the likes of the Boodles, where say a horse is rated 135 in Ireland, conceivably could be getting 140 in 45 maybe in the UK,
We'll have to see with the Boodles, because we've not seen that yet. I mean, the fact that this Milton Harris horse that won the Adonis, the fact that 137 tells me they're not rating the British horses aggressively low this year in the same way they're dropping the chases, because that horse could feasibly have been £5 lower coming into today.
The Martin Pipe conditional hurdle, of course, we saw Langer Dan, didn't we, bump into Galopin de Champs?
Yes, and he's going to... Is this your handicap nap this year?
Well, it's not a nap, because you just don't know what he's going to come up against. He'd be a nap to finish second.
Yeah,
Did you see him in on his comeback in the week?
I had not seen it. No.
I did the close-ups for that race and probably the analysis. He was not given a hard time at all. He stank in the market, and savvy old training, really. He'll be spot on for another go at that. And I can just see him becoming one of these horses for races, at the festival, and probably always bumping into a Grade 1 performer.
If you were laying one out for the festival, why? And the Coral Cup's right there, lads. The Martin Pipe tends to be the one where, for whatever reason, I don't really know. Why does Galopin de Champs always turn up in the Martin Pipe and never the Coral Cup?
Riders might have a bit to do with it, mightn't they? And
maybe, I don't know, but because you look at the entry list for those two races every year, it's 90%. It's 90% the same horses.
Who rode him last year? Galopin. I have to try.
I can't recall.
Think about that one.
But so why is it the Sir de Champs, the Galopin de Champs, the Don Polies? Why do they turn up in the Martin Pipe and never the Coral Cup?
I don't know. Something tells me that they love the conditional, and the QR riders, don't they, over there in Ireland? I don't know. It's a proper leg up. Was it who won on Sir Deschamps? That was a skin of the teeth ride, wasn't it? Was it Emmett?
I thought was it not Keith Donoghue?
No, it was one of the family.
Was it one of the family?
Yeah, it was one of the family. It was indeed. Look, so we're talking about the Cheltenham handicaps. If you're just joining us here on RP Live this afternoon, we've got a bit of time, plenty of time still, until the Dovecote at 3 o'clock, which was won by an Irish horse last year, Cape Gentleman. There's the market up on the screen. Barry, do you just want to talk us through it before we go back and digress a little bit? Who's fav at the moment? Because this horse has been drifting, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's been drifting like a barge. I was fancying laying this around the even money mark. It's out to 9-4 now. Should we have one more? You've got ICO in there, 5.7. Can't have that. Don't fancy that at all after Cheltenham last day. Again, that was a time when Paul Nicholls' horses were running badly. Marco de Vasse at 9.4. I was given that a chance. I was initially going to lay the favourite, but I'm not going to chase it out to 9-4 and look to get it. He's a horse that obviously they set out to make all on him last day because he had been a bit free prior to that, but he's won a race last day, but the second in was absolutely dead in the market. One of Nicky Henderson's wasn't wanted at all, was a massive drifter. So you'd have to question the form of the race, and he got it soft out in front. So I think I'm going to probably just Marco de Vasse that won in Doncaster. I think I'm going to look to have a few quid each way that instead, or win in place, please. He was very scrappy at the last that day in Doncaster. He traded at 80 and running before getting back up. And he was given the second £10 and he was given the third £7 that day. So I thought that was a pretty tidy run. He's currently trading at 9.4. 25 quid win, please, Keith, and 25 quid win in the standard place market as well. 3 places, which is currently trading at around the 6-4 market.
He's warming up, Barry. He's had a couple of shouts. He's going for the quick double then. And I was impressed in Barry last time, the Tom Simmons horse, because he left his legs in the last, didn't he, and still picked up the horse. And not a lot of horses.
Yeah,
can do that.
That's where I was coming from as well. And it looked like he was going to be maybe a bad third, but he got to the other two. He picked them up quite easily at the finish, and he looked a nice prospect. And giving them both plenty of weight as well. Obviously, it's the novice event, but he was still giving them away. He was giving away weight to them. So I thought that was a pretty a horse that's probably going in the right direction. I think this is a pretty decent race. I think you'll see winners come from this race, but couldn't be laying the favourite at that price now. If anything, he's probably backable.
The one for money has been the Chris Gordon horse, isn't it? Orkin Risk. And interestingly, this is the last row of the dice of the Supreme. If Shall We Have One More goes and follows up the Sandown win, it's almost certain that he will go for the Supreme, the opening race of the festival. Now, this chap's only entered in the county, Orkin Risk. It sort of sums it up a bit, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and this is the last, he's 126 rated. It's his last chance to get in the county because he's got no chance of getting in off
zero.
that.
What's the lowest rate you're going to want for that? 1.3 something, isn't it?
130. Mid to low 130s maybe at best to get in the county. And so he needs to win this because this race will be factored into the handicap weights that come out on Tuesday. It's this weekend. It's tomorrow's the last day that gets factored in. You get penalties, but you need a double penalty of 126, I think.
It was Emmett Mullins, by the way.
Was it Emmett Mullins?
Yeah. Hugh Masson out there in the chat, I can see.
Well done.
Bit of chat about Henderson's form. And I think we've got a question coming in. Let's have a look. In the social corners out there. Yeah, Tom Mitchell says 8 of Henderson's last 19 have pulled up, so a worry. I think Jajinsky in the chat said, what about Endo's form? Is anyone worried about it? I mean, the mare ran well there, didn't she? But last 19.
Fine, yeah.
I must admit, I didn't know that. Russian Ruler was expected to beat Moriko de Vasse at Doncaster last time. The ground was a bit trappy, wasn't it? So one is sitting at 15-2 and the other one is at 18-1. He'll bounce off this ground, so that might be a gauge for us. But big first couple of days coming up for Hendo, isn't it? In around about 3 weeks' time.
The very first race. Yeah, the very first. Well, it's his first. Yeah, he's got the Supreme. When's the last time somebody
had an underground rumbling, isn't there? That Constitution Hill's flattered. We've been hearing this one. People there's a little underground undercut.
Underground, go on, let's bring them into the surface. Who's that?
No, but Barry Geraghty absolutely
Richie
loves him.
Forrestal flagged it to me yesterday.
Oh, right,
something I have been hearing and seeing on the Twitter and things like that.
Richie probably wants to back dice at Dynamo, doesn't he?
Do you reckon that's going to go there? It looks like Sir Gerhard's going to go the Ballymore,
so
doesn't it?
It's
puzzles.
That's why it's so fun, so many. But I don't know. I think he's just so lazy at home. But I've never heard. Well, Barry Geraghty says he's just awesome. That's why I bought him.
Shall we have one more? Of course, fourth, wasn't he, to him? Beaten, 25 lengths.
I mean, there's an element of you can't... The actual bare form of a race like that is rarely worth an awful lot.
Well, this favourite showed that to be the case, didn't it?
But all you can do, I mean, yeah, if you want to pick holes in Constitution Hill's Bear Fall, of course you can, because he's done it in that horrible ground you get at Sandown in midwinter. But it's the way he's done it. He's done it like a really excellent horse. I've got some good judges that I speak to that watch more hurdles than me. One of them's called him a once in a generation talent, and he's not a guy that gets carried away. So I still, I mean,
It's G-Rod's banker now, isn't it?
is it?
Yeah, I also think it's something to get seriously excited about, that horse. I haven't seen performances like that in. I thought it was.
But it's a race for the ages, isn't
Incredible.
it?
It is. I can foresee what's going to happen. You're going to end up getting a good price, like a massive price about John Bonner. I'm going to end up backing him.
You are.
I think so. Haydock, he could barely be bothered, could he, at Haydock? He won that as he wanted.
Did we cover that together?
Yeah, we did, and
yeah.
everybody going,
G
oh,
was
that's
in, wasn't
rubbish,
it?
oh, it's
Well,
rubbish.
I said it was a sexy performance, so I've got a bit some stick for it, because I like the way he came back on the
Oh, I
board.
love John Bob, but he's just got to keep his head together, hasn't he?
He
At
does a
the
bit.
festival, he's got to keep his head together because he
Strongly
is.
run race is going to help him, I think, though. If he
That's the
settles.
thing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, if they dropped him out last, it would be something to watch, wouldn't it?
I was hoping they'd step him up and trip. I was hoping they'd go to Ballymore with him. I thought he could be an absolute shoe-in for the Ballymore if they did. I really think he's crying out for that step up and trip already.
Yeah, Tom Segal said that on Pedigree,
can-
didn't he? He's,
yeah.
he's the one that should go up in trip as well.
He's just going to. I can just see him being the sort of horse that's going to drift to about 8-9 to 1, and you're just thinking, oh, I've got to back him at that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And why wouldn't you? It'd be a good.
It made us talk about JP and the Ballymore, that Barry. Since Isterbrack, has he won it since Isterbrack? I don't think he has he?
No, he must be cursed.
I don't think he likes runners in it, someone told me. He'd much rather... Apparently not that keen on runners in the Ballymore for something. I don't know why.
Has he retired the shirt after Isterbrack?
If you have one that goes for one or the
I
other...
don't think he
always
has
wants to
any
go to Supreme.
sentiment like that, does he?
Michael Buckley is...
He also prefers like a £5 bet in the middle of the week, doesn't he? JP loves it. Loves it.
Yeah,
tiny little
nice
bit.
fiver.
Yeah, he loves
exactly.
it. Just a fiver.
Yeah.
Just a fiver.
There's another 2 million of them waiting to come in as well. Michael Buckley, though, the owner of Constitution Hill, he is all about the Supreme.
Oh yeah, apparently that was the thing. He's got
Kills
no
did his
interest.
weekender piece, didn't he? Saying, "Don't be surprised if Constitution Hill goes up for the Ballymore. He's 12 to 1. Apparently, Hendo was in isolation at the time on his cornflake. Yeah, exactly. What's that bloody Keeley riding again? So it's caused a bit of consternation. So look, that's the Supreme, and Orkin Risk is in the Dovecote. Well fancied. Chris Gordon has won this race. A very progressive horse, but he's only entered in the county.
Is the Constitution Hill thing because of Michael Buckley's history with the Supreme?
Yes.
Is it okay?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Spirit Sun and that other horse,
Ill-fated, yeah.
that old horse that I'd never... Because when Lee Morrison wrote that
Rainbow,
piece,
was it, or something? Who was it?
Finian Drable won the championship.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
But so it's-
No. It's
It was 10 years earlier, I think.
New York, something.
No, Toast to New York, that was second in the Breeders' Cup Classic. You're basically naming all the good Buckley horses.
Yeah, no, it was.
Oh, yeah, Toast to New York. That was Buckley's, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
For Jamie Osborne, yeah. All right, listen, the other thing to say is, Keith, are you getting excited? We're half an hour away from Ida time.
From the Ida.
Yeah.
So we're halfway
seeing a few
between when
tips
Ida will
come
start
in.
and when it'll finish.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got time in between the races today. We're going to have a bit of time between the Ida as well, haven't we? Right, tips for this then. Come on, we've got 10 minutes now. 10-minute klaxon to the Dovecote. Cape Gentleman took it last year. What are we thinking? This Fav?
Yeah, I've gone for him because I had the benefit of seeing the prices this morning. It tightened up
Same.
to that extent, and I thought he deserves to be the favourite here. He deserves to be 9-4 in this field.
Finian's Rainbow.
Yeah, that won the championship. But I mean, hats off to young Master Robbie Wilder. He said to me on Thursday night, he says, "Why is this Orkin Risk 4 times the price of Shall We Have One More?" And right enough, they've closed right up. And at the time, I'd have tipped up Orkin Risk. But as it sits just now, yeah, the collateral form has them relatively closely tied. But Shall We Have One More does it a lot more stylishly. Has a little bit more in terms of what he's actually achieved in the overall sense, and deserves to be favourite for this. It wasn't a race I had a massively strong view on, but I think the closing up in the market's gone a little bit far.
He won his bumper here, of course, didn't he? I spoke to Gary. It was the Kempton bumper of the EBF week. So just when you're after the Lord Mayor's show at Cheltenham last year,
Silver
he
Silver
absolutely
Day.
hosed up, and the horse he beat that day was Walking on Air, who is a bit of a flyer, isn't he? Wherever he goes next.
Well, that it's like with these bumper horses, if you send them to X a meeting, and you have any faith in them doing so, you must regard them in some. In the northern trainers, it's always a Scottish national bumper. And it'll be the same idea with that Kempton Saturday, where it's the silver trophy day after Cheltenham. So yeah, it's he has just got style about him, wasn't he?
You think they'll let him rip again?
I'm not sure they've got much choice.
No, and Gary said he'd be better in a strongly run race.
He was sweet on him when he spoke to him.
Yeah, I can imagine. I just think he could just be too good for these others. I really do.
Proper judge, Gary, like old school judge.
Old school.
Talks about how others are fancied in the race and things like that. That's what he loves it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I think we'll just about win that, he said. I'm
just pleased it's 8 in the race. Because I was like, it's perfect each way. Because I'm also really warm on Marika de Vasse.
With Barry?
Yeah, I am. I think I can see... 2 from 3 of her hurdles. I did like that Doncaster, that sort of attitude. But shall we have one more? I just think it might be too good for the others. Gary's already said that, he wants to be better in a strongly run race. And I just see it again. Shall we have one more? And then hopefully Marika de Vasse's right there chasing him home.
I wonder if there's any pace pressure for him as well, potentially. Isio,
maybe.
Fred Arms, who, of course, the Skelton's looking for a double, having taken out our first race, the 1:15. A progressive horse coming forward. Just going back to Orkin Risk, I can't remember many handicap winners coming and taking this out. Highway 101. He's got all
we talk about handicaps. We mentioned the handicapping situation this year. These horses are all... I wouldn't expect the favourite for the Dovecote to come in rated 133.
Exactly.
Second favourite 126. These horses should all be in handicaps. One of these horses should be winning the Imperial Cup in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah. He's had 3 runs as well. Shall we have one more as well? But look, they do think he is that sort of class. Matty Batchelor, our dear friend.
He tends to know, doesn't he? He tends to know about
He put him up after he got beaten at Ascot. You probably heard me say that at the regulars, haven't we? We were all a bit like, I said, give me one horse for Cheltenham. He said this. At the time, that was a right old shout at the time.
Well, he's obviously been riding out with Gary's that week and heard the whispers.
Yeah.
What do you make of the drift? Because at Sandown, obviously in a race when they would have caught wind that the Hendo horse was going to slightly need it, probably. Balkio, whatever he's called, beast of horse, that, but one for the future. They whacked him, didn't they? And here we have a polarisation of that. He's 2-1 now, Barry, isn't he? What's he on the exchange? He's just above.
3.15, so just a little over 2-1. 3.95 activity. ICO 5788 Marika de Vasse, and it's 13 bar.
We're a little surprised that Isio is as short as he is for this. He obviously won at the track, didn't he? On soft ground.
I thought that. But again, you're looking at, he's actually officially the highest rated horse in the race.
Yeah, he is.
Last 4-year-old winner of this.
Yeah, impressed over course distance.
I think I should know this. No, it's a hurdle, isn't it?
Hell of a horse. He was. Alan King, there's the key. He likes to run his... He was considering doing it with Tritonic last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did. He had him in both at the 5-day stage, didn't he?
It was Grametti.
Was it really
Grametti?
I would have struggled to get that.
4-9 shot, so...
But again, maybe this rating on Isio shows you a little bit the sort of disconnect between the juvenile hurdlers and the non-juvenile novice hurdlers, because he is, despite what he's done. I mean, he won here as he wanted on Wayward Lad Desert Orchid Day, but should he really be the highest rated of these horses on BHA figures? And it's only I think it's because he's a juvenile and they're not rating the juveniles low enough. And
he's getting the weight, of course, with Legionnaire, who's making his hurdling debut in hot water.
I mean, the weight he's getting is weight for age and should be, it should be allowed for in his rating. So don't worry about that when it comes to ratings.
What does he say about him? Let's have a look. He's run very well around there before, says Paul Nichols. I just hope the ground doesn't dry up too much. Probably not got the ground he wants, but he is short, enough in the betting. He's pretty solid, isn't he? They are about
gets the allowances as well, doesn't he, being a 4-year-old?
Yeah, he gets allowances.
Exactly.
Just to go back a little bit, because we've got time here. Did you know there was a course record in the Winter Derby?
I did not.
Just seen it, there was a course record.
Are we surprised about that? Because we've got 2 very classy horses turning up.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not that surprised. And he made it more of a he went a bit earlier than you normally would at Lingfield in order to catch out Lord North. So I'm not that surprised to hear it. It does possibly underline how good a ride it was as well. He knew he was given that. He's not kicked to get a split on them. He's actually done exactly what you should do to get a good time.
Fallon.
He's a very good rider, isn't he?
Very good.
Who's the best junior rider? Is it John Joe Neal Jr. or Kieran? He's not Junior Kieran Fallon, but you know what I mean.
No, he should be, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I'm going to call him Junior for the purposes
Very
of this
different character to the old man, of course.
Yes, yeah. But yeah,
comparisons are drawn, weren't they, of course, between Kieran Senior
and
Oisin Murphy, of course, this week. It's big news, that, wasn't it? Lots to say about that. We had Richie Forrester on, so you've probably seen that feature show. Richie was excellent, as was John and Hardy. But Richie was very good with it.
Well, Richie would, having been in the weighing room for years like he was,
we tried to get inside his mind a little bit, and he said just surrounded.
I've had chats with Richie sort of offline about jockey-related stuff, and I definitely, obviously, you have to respect his opinion on these things.
Stay off the grog, he said. That's all it's about. Just stay off the grog. And he'll be fine. He also mentioned riders that have come back. Obviously, Kieran Fallon. Others, Frankie
Dettori. Look, Usham will be fine. I think he doesn't need berating now. Like, his punishment's been served, and we want to get behind these jockeys because it's a sport that we love. Yeah, that's true, though, isn't it? Like, he knows he's messed up on more than one occasion, and he's seeking help. And we're all entitled to our own opinion, but I think we've got to be respectful as well.
Do you think they're going to have a look at this title in 2020?
I don't know. It's
Buick.
Buick's agents come out as a course.
Well, you would be though.
I have no doubt he would
have
won.
Would be.
Was it 11 winners he rode?
Something like that, yeah. It was an awful lot. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not something I'm going to lose a lot of sleep over either way, but it's you can definitely see the legal sort of case for it, definitely.
Yeah.
But I mean, with Murphy, you just wish him all the best, because, as Richie says as well, he says keep off the grog. We're all people that, I like a bet sometimes, bet a bit more than I should. I like a drink sometimes I drink more than I should. But there comes a point where you've got to go, no, actually, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. And hopefully he gets the help he needs. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, we're going to miss him, that's for sure. No doubt he's a good young man when he's this year, is talk his jockey's title, is it just going to be Buick's to win this year? He's going to go all out for it, isn't it? Well, he's on or something like that. No mistake made.
Yeah.
I had a few, one of the people that I saw on Twitter calling for that, early on for that review to be called, I'm pretty certain, back Buick, so don't. So people might be talking through other lenses other than natural justice. Well, there we are. All right, we digress slightly, but let's go back. Talking about being back, they're finally coming back in for this fab, are they, Barry?
They are. He's 296 now, so he's under 2-1, 4.1 Accurate, 5.8 ICO, 8.8 Mirko Devassi, and it's 14 bar. So yeah, money coming for the favourite. He got out to a backable price at around 9-4, I suppose, for a lot of people. Okay, maybe listening then to some of us here in the studio. So 2 for Tom Simmons and 2 for Carrymore. That's right. Mirko Devassi, and shall we have one more? Everyone gets this name's this horse's name wrong.
I think shall we have one more's the winner, but I reckon Mirko Devassi with the 8 runners is a great, and I think that pace angle, like you said, I reckon the Skelton horse that's barely been off the bridle, has it? Like, and last twice, so Harry looks like he was prominent, so it's going to be really interesting tactically wise. I reckon Harry's going to go off, and then shall we have one more can just get in behind and hopefully.
Are we a bit surprised there's no more Irish representation, Barry? And this Cape Gentleman obviously took it out for Emmett Mullins last year. Is that perhaps the Dublin Racing Festival's placing the cannon a bit too soon, is it? Or
I just don't think it's a day that is specifically targeted by Irish trainers. It's not with the better horses, like the good graded horses have ran in the Dublin Racing Festival, and they're being aimed at Cheltenham now, so this wouldn't come into the equation.
You think about horses like Colonel Mustard, maybe, who's sort of backside of John Bon and Ascot. Maybe he might have come over. This might have been his big day in the sun, a bit like Cape Gentleman last year. I was just surprised to not see a bit of representation there. Let's face it, if you finish third at the Dublin Racing Festival, you're going to have claims of taking this out, aren't you?
Yeah, I suppose potentially, but there's bigger targets than that in Ireland as well. Like if you're giving Cheltenham a miss, then you're on to Ferryhouse for the Easter meeting where there's massive prize money, and then on to Punchestown as well, and the other spring festivals like Aintree. So historically, it's not a meeting at the Irish target at all.
Okay, all right then. Yeah, all right.
Very Bay field, isn't it? Anyone Chestnut in it?
The prize is staying at home for once. Yeah, lovely to see the sun out at Kempton with so many racegoers there at the moment, isn't there? Slight wind then coming into their faces, and they are finally about to be off for the Dovecote 2022. Will it be the handicap form of Alcon Risk? Or will it be shall we have one more?
Money came right in for shall we have one more.
Very interesting to see. They're not allowing him his head this time, and isn't he resenting it? Let's see how he settles. They believe he's settling better at home, I think, so he's a bit keen on the inside, isn't he? But it's a handicap winner, Alcon Risk, likes to get on with it, as does Isio. We thought he might be out there, and the Skelton horse as well, chasing a hat-trick. Bit to find, but probably very progressive, is Frere d'Armes, looking for Russian Ruler. Of course, saw Mirko Devassi, his old rival, right out the back this time. He's a bit keen as well. The newcomer to hurdling, the bumper winner, that's Legionnaire. He's in there as well, along with the big outsider for Nigel Hawke. Does so well with these horses, Nigel Hawke, but only rated 1/117 is Galore Descent says. Keith Melrose, I'm looking at the clock, and it's way above 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, I think they have gone a reasonable clip because you've not got... These are a lot of free-going horses, to be perfectly honest with you, and not that many of them are pulling. That's the sort of... That's the very skim-read way of telling how a race is going. Our speedometer is giving us an indication that it's 33. Don't go putting your house on anything by these racing TV on-screen sectionals, by the way. They're a guide,
Yeah.
but they're not massive.
Much talk about that in the analysis department, let me tell you.
Yeah, well, some of the sectionals they throw up are a bit kooky, but they're a guide and they're telling you that this race is being run at a reasonable gallop, which you'd have to expect because if it wasn't, half of them would be going mental.
He wears a hood, doesn't he, Isio, right up front as Alkenrist just takes his measure at this one. He's jumping quite well and probably a stayer in the making this one, isn't he? Who's catching your eye?
Yeah, they're all pretty much exactly where I thought they'd be. Obviously, we thought the top three, when they lined up, go handy, and they've stayed there. The only one I'm slightly worried about, Dave, is Mariko Devassi, just not quite getting into the race away that I thought he would at this stage.
Not
He's
got
been
the legs
niggled
at the minute,
along.
has he?
I wouldn't completely discount him at the moment, but he's definitely been niggled along by Aidan Coleman a lot more than I'd expect at this stage of the race. I'm very happy with our pick at the moment. Shall we have one more? I think he's nicely set. Like you said, they've obviously had a little bit of trouble getting him settled in the past, and to me, he looks pretty happy at the moment.
I don't
Coleman's
think
going to have
any
to pull him
excuses
right
today
wide.
for him.
Yeah,
No, I don't think so.
And
Well,
he's
he's done
changing
it.
leg a bit as well, Mariko Devassi. Coleman's just, he's just not quite getting into that. He's swatched legs and he's kind of like, come on, mate. He's just...
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't look to be having...
Doesn't
Let's
look like
go
he's
to
in
you
the
then,
best
Barry,
time.
on the far side. We've got around about 4 to jump, I
He's
think.
changed
And
legs again.
Alkenrisk is just opening up a bit now.
Mariko.
Yeah, he's 284, but your favourite still, shall we have one more, who's settled really well at 2.24. Interestingly, he went off at 2.60. ICO out to 110, but yeah, it looks to be the between the two at the head of the market now, with Brand Aramens is a 15 chance.
Yeah,
tell you what,
he's still in there fighting, isn't he?
Josh has been like these sprint cyclists that change their lead man all the way through.
He's looking for the target.
He's been picking the right wheel all the way around, watching him now. He's now
the
gone
big
wide
two
to
in the
challenge.
market then. Russian ruler, perhaps the other one. I tell you who's catching the eye as well. Look at this Nigel
Nigel
horse.
Hawks, yep,
Galore
Nigel Hawks is catching the eye.
Decazance, perhaps just going to not get the legs. Russian ruler looks like a stayer in the making, not totally out of it.
Isio's dropped right away.
It's the big two, Isio out like a light. Alkenrist then, he looks a sitting duck, doesn't he? For shall we have one more? Has he been too keen to do the early parts? That's the question. It's a long way home from these couple of flights at Kempton. Here we go then. This is 2 out, isn't it?
Headless is coming a bit.
Alkenrist still
he's
there.
He's got it wrong.
Good jump by the third. Russian ruler. Has he got too much ground to make up? He's definitely a stayer. He's not going through with it, is he?
No, he's
Shall
not.
he have one more?
Got Harry
Alkenrist.
Skelton as well.
Harry, on the inside, that's Kieran Buckley, isn't it? With Galore. Here we go then. Much better jump there from
he's missed them
Alkenrist.
both.
Shall we have one more? Left his legs in it. We've seen that already from a more horse at Kempton at the last. It looks like he's going to have to come off second best today. Alkenrist has got it. Chris Gordon has his big day in the sun. Will this be a player for the county hurdle? The favourite only second. And what was that in third? Was it Russian Ruler in third in the end?
Possibly. The favourite's the best horse in the race, though, isn't he? Yeah. He missed both in the straight.
Still a bit keen, isn't he?
He's still a bit keen. I'm not saying,
I think the ground was a bit lively for him as well. His head went up a little bit when he looked like he was thinking about it.
Possibly. He's just, the crucial factor is that he's missed both flights in the straight. I'm not saying he's obviously, I think the market would have been pretty much there on those horses.
Very good jumping from the winner, though.
Yeah.
And that's a nearly make all. It's that handicap form coming in. Barry, tell us the story of the market.
Yeah, the runner-up, should we have one more, hit a low of 1.51. I wonder, will they be disappointed they didn't make more use of him, considering how he had won last day? But 2 to 1 on, he traded in running. Should we have one more? But game performance from the winner, it has to be said. Outside of that, there's no real massive in-running story. You were right, that was Galore that finished third. That was 4.8, hit a low of 4.8. And the other horse that threatened for a brief minute was Russian Ruler, wasn't it? He hit a low of 3.80 on the exchange as well. But interestingly, should we have one more? They smashed it up at the finish. It went off 2.62 favourite on the Betfair Exchange.
I did check this as the exchanges went off, and he's basically 6 to 4 at the off.
Funny ride from Isio. What's this? Is he coming back at the finish there, Isio? Because Russian Rulers actually finished 4th in the end. And lots of people, again, will be saying a Henderson horse has had its chance and not got home. So, I don't know. Watch Isio on the inside. Something comes from off the pace anyway, because he looked absolutely cooked, didn't he?
Oh, he did. He looked like he was going to drop like a stone.
He's third here.
Yeah.
Russian Ruler. It wasn't great there. Yeah, Sisio's come back, so he's a stayer in the making as well, I think. Not as bad as it looked on
Horse that drops.
Gas, those horses, they're all bought as staying chasers, aren't they? really. Those Paul Nicholls horses like that, the Chris Giles ones. So,
I think he's got.
you know,
quite a nice
obviously
one there
he's
himself.
won a course in distance as a 4-year-old, but
Horse that
his mark is definitely not reflective of his ability by the looks of it.
Well, whether we've seen, I think we've probably seen County Hurdle Horse there, haven't we? I don't know
Yeah,
whether we
he's-
might see some trimming in the market for that, Barry, because a penalty for that. How much did he get?
No, he won't get a penalty. He'll get reassessed.
Oh yes, of course, but he's not out, are they? Of course,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you'll find out
Brilliant
Tuesday.
training.
So what you'll probably find on Tuesday, before you don't have to wait till 12 o'clock. If you fancy this horse to the county, go in the BHA ratings database at 7 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. You'll find out his new mark.
All right, okay. I fancy they might, because what was he? £7 off.
If
wasn't he,
it
for Fav?
was me and I was rating this race as a BHA handicapper, I don't think this horse would be high enough to get in, even after I reassessed
I'm
him.
going to go low 130s after that.
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll go up
And
to
you're
a lower
borderline
30s.
to get in there, aren't you? Nice horse though, isn't he? Chris Gordon's having a right old second
Beautiful
half of the
horse.
I
season.
thought it was a good ride again. I thought you got the aggressive sort of ride that made a difference because
Tom
Josh.
Edward Stone Cannon.
Yes, well, he's got a big ride coming up. He's a good rider, Tom Cannon.
Yeah, I think he's a good rider. I wonder what the debrief will be though. Shall we have one more now in the Moore camp?
Well,
It'll
jump
be
into
a
the
lot
name of the game.
words. There'll be words that begin with F.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, Teddy Blue was
Here
the
we
same,
have. We're
wasn't
not giving much time to the build up to the big race of the day here.
Just
we're
about
not,
to do it,
actually.
Barry. Just about to do it. Don't you worry. It is Ida time 2022. Ida. Happy days. It's Ida time. Who's ready for a marathon? It's felt like that at times in this afternoon, hasn't it, Barry? Come on in, give us a story of the market. We have an Irish raider here.
Yeah, you haven't. He's gone favourite. History of Fashion 7.4. Win My Wings, it was the job earlier on today, is 7.8. 9-2 Eclair Surf. 8-6 Danilo Dari. The horse I fancy in at Retina Lure is 10 and it's 15 bar. That's what I'm going to back in at Win and Place, please, Keith. We're going to have 25 quid win and we're going to have 25 quid in the standard 4 places. Rose Dobbin won this in 2016 with Rock and Blues. Only an 8-year-old, this horse. 7 runs since coming over from Ireland and where Rannon pointed points. An out-and-out stayer, but very precocious, this horse. 7 races under rules, 3 wins, 2 seconds. Offered 399 days, went 5th of 5 last time out in air, beating a little over 15 lengths. Should come on for the run, and I think could run a big race here off its mark. So currently around 10.5. Ratting a lure for me here.
Very interesting horse, that. It's that Alnadam form, and Alnadam was a good
Yeah,
horse.
I can see where Barry's going with that one. I think, that air one, just 3 out. Lost
16 runners.
Come on from that.
Did you have a short list, or did you get one on top?
And I've got two that I'm really keen on. Courtmaster, pretty obvious because there's been plenty about
Likes the
Courtmaster.
gaff,
But
doesn't
it's
he?
just because, Michael Scudamore is gelding, it's facing a very different scenario today. But early placed efforts at Newbury, at Cheltenham, they're encouraging, aren't they, in like the big handicap front. Looking at his form though, Newbury, 27th of November, runner-up, 3rd at Cheltenham, December. Newbury came way too quickly for it. If I've watched all the replays, just way too quickly. The latest at Newcastle, though, in Feb, winner, it was 3 runners. It was pretty miserable.
He didn't half jump well that day.
Dave, do you know what? Me and you on the same
Well,
lines.
I've had since Wednesday to get
3
my head around
runners,
these
you're kind of like,
notes,
ugh. But what I loved is how he attacked the fences. It was just so cool to watch. Plenty of gusto. Loved the way he jumped. Gusto. That was only 3 miles. And do you know what else I think though, Dave? I just don't think it would have taken like too much out of him, which I like, because this obviously is one hell of a
It's
slog.
an interesting spot, this, for Courtmaster, isn't it? Because he wouldn't necessarily be the sloggiest horse you'd think
No,
of.
but Hale's a
They
family
could-
Grand National winner at Amberley House.
And there we are. You've definitely
Nailed
done your
it.
research.
I've nailed it.
He's also the same colours that won this race 5 years ago, isn't he? Mystery.
Yeah.
That was a plodder.
Mystery
Wow.
with this.
That is the plodder of plodders.
That was a real plodder. And he won
Talking
it. I
of
mean, the
plodder
thing
of
with
plodders, shall we give you your moment in the sun?
Well,
come
it's a
on.
race where I had a load. I could talk to all about all these horses, but and I could have fancied. We talked in the week, didn't we?
We did.
Well, I'm not going to spoil the surprise of what you put up, but I had at the time I didn't see a bet. When the decks came through, I thought, why is this Win My Wings the price she is? And she's been coming.
You thought that's what I was going to put up. We sort of tried to guess each other's
I
selections.
see,
Saturday,
okay.
didn't
Win
we?
My Wings is. I just couldn't believe she was 20-1 during the week.
Yeah, I don't think Christian could
What
either,
is
to
it?
be
Yeah, it's
honest.
amazing, isn't it? That
And she's come right in and gone a little bit back out again. But she in Exeter last time, that was a prep run for the Ida, and she wasn't. I mean, ridden to get the best possible placing, of course. But had she finished second that day, they'd have been delighted and come to the Ida. And that was always a plan with her. She's only run 3 times over 3 mile plus over fences, won them all, I think. and won over 3 miles at Cheltenham and better ground. That was in heavy at Exeter. The form of that race has worked out really well. Milan Native, well, what was not called Milan Native, that's another horse entirely. Run to Milan is one of veterans chase over that course and distance next time. Edith Selton came out and won it when Canton last week won easily. It was a weak race. And the horse that was going to finish place, Classic Ben, finished second yesterday at Exeter. The form's worked out really well. Win My Wings' ratings, actually, she's gone up £2 collaterally since. But that's not, she's £2 well in today. Cheek pieces on, just to keep her, because I think she did drop the bridle a little bit at Exeter. So this is to just keep her interested, keep her going all the way through. I thought she deserved to be among the favourites, and she wasn't at the time. She is now. In fact, she's actually favourite on Betfair. I just had a quick look there at the market again. And I'm a big one off in these staying chases for horses that get ridden positively, because it's so hard to make up ground when the going's testing. But in the Eider, that's not borne out in recent years, and I have said that that's probably just a bit of luck in a lot of senses. But Newcastle, we talked about it earlier, the last 6 furlongs is a long, slow burn up a hill. The prevailing wind up the straight is into their faces. So it does make sense to just not have your horse in the firing line quite as early. And the fences are quite well spaced before you get up the straight as well at Newcastle. So there's reasons why that might be legit rather than just something that's complete variance. So yeah, you could make a case for a lot. Win My Wings, I thought absolutely stood like a sore thumb at the prices before.
I think we can call her a gamble now as well.
She is a gamble. Yeah, she was, even last night, she was, 16 to 1. And I know that price-wise will have been part of that. Price-wise put her up. And as I say, I wonder if anybody reads a punt, because that's where I put her up. Moved the markets. But no, it'll be almost certainly be because Christian Williams, we know what he's like. There's always a plan. Do. The thing is, this horse, she's run 6 times over fences, and take out those 2 listed races she ran in, which she's up against it, she's tilting at windmills to get a bit of black type. Take those out of it, and she's progressive, just flat progressive.
Okay.
And yeah,
she's a Cheltenham winner as well, isn't she?
On that April meeting, isn't it? If you're going to be
Cheltenham, was it? A win's a win.
Yeah.
Is it that mare's race? That was the one.
It was.
It was that year.
She didn't half win that well, actually.
Yeah, she did, and she just thrives when there's a test of stamina.
She bounced off the ground, I think, as well. Okay, Courtmaster.
I got 2, haven't I?
Oh, right, yeah, okay. Get it in.
Haven't I?
Get it in.
Absolute 12 years old, but Achille for a place.
Yes.
For a place. Solid stayer. You can argue either way with younger bucks or veterans, but actually when they get to this age and they're still racing and they're still in good form, then they've got the experience. Their lungs have been stretched. This horse stays. Did bloody brilliantly to get 4th, to be fair, in the Welsh Grand National, because it was so hampered at the start. I can't believe actually ended up getting 4th, to be honest with you.
It would be a lot shorter if it hadn't gone back for another crack at the Classic Chase, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But look, fresh, has a bit of time now for Venetia to just get him right. He's an old boy. I'm not saying for a win. I'm saying for a place. I'm pretty keen. So yeah, Achille and Courtmaster.
Another good example of the handicapper dropping him quickly as well, Achille, because he's actually £6 lower than when he was 5th. You'd have copped your place money in the Beecher.
Yeah.
And he's now £6 lower.
He's also
that was
brave.
only 3 runs ago, wasn't it?
He's brave as a lion as well, and he'll keep rallying. He'll keep going.
He's got such a good record of placing in these big stay-in handicap chases. He tends to get ridden a bit off the pace.
Yeah.
He was the only one to technically come off the pace in a Welsh National, but by halfway he was in the first 6, I think. So he had made his move nice and early before they started properly racing. But he's
good each way, isn't it?
If I was doing a play spot in Newcastle today, Achilles definitely in it.
Yeah.
Irish Raiders have won 2 of the last, 10 renewals.
Portrait King would have.
Don't talk to me about Portrait King. I was all over Posh Bird that year.
Oh, yeah.
Graham Lee rode it, I think, if memory serves. And it was
Portrait King
absolutely...
was he not only 6 or 7?
Brian Hughes, sorry. Posh Bird. Oh, I loved her for Peter Niven. She came there cruising. And I was like, I've got the money. And then, of course, something better handicap come beat it by a couple of lengths. I've gone for Check It Out here, in case anyone wants to know. We spoke in the week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, and I thought he was a certainty at Fontwell when he won, and he fell in, basically.
It was a hard watch if you backed him, which I didn't. It was
Newcastle would suit him much better.
Pieces on. I'm totally sure he needs one. I think he just needs a right old test, and it's that feature
You can
form.
see why they would, because he needs to get rolling, doesn't he? He's a horse that needs to get rolling, and Newcastle gives him the opportunity to do that in a way that going round one way and then t'other at Fontwell
He's got some good form, hasn't he? Ascot wasn't really for him, I
Absolutely.
don't think. When it was a bit hot, wasn't it, behind Ansam, who were about
Well,
to
that's
see
the thing. It
coming
was
up.
a wee bit hot. I think he's getting to his level just about
Maybe.
mid 130s. That's the only thing. I can see him running well, definitely.
Yeah, he's got maybe going to have to hit up near 140 to win this, isn't he? So on the figures, but maybe the cheap pieces, maybe the marathon trip. They are going up.
Starter's on the
The
roster.
starter is on the rostrum for the
Oh, I
2020
do love these
Ida.
stay and chases.
It's the time. I mean, we can talk about whatever you want during this, Barry.
Or nothing.
Nothing.
Turns out.
It's on mute, Barry. I think you're on mute, Barry. That's the last thing we want during the Ida.
Barry, that was...
Yeah, we're off and running here. I said I'm going to go make a cup of tea and I'll be back up, and I'm sure there'll still be a surf to go.
Go get your Desperados, man. That's absolutely fine.
How dare you?
All right, okay, let's have one out. All right, this is interesting. Staying chase, front runners. It's the Ida. They're staring up the mountain, aren't they? Who's leading over the first? Court Master for Nat Green is up there. Well, that's a right go down the
That's
money.
a clear surf.
I saw a
up there
couple
as
of
well.
tips earlier for Cash to Ash,
That
the
might
second
be-
Itis horse.
That might run. I mean, he keeps finishing second in lesser races, but he
Has
could run
won at
well.
Newcastle, though, hasn't
He
he?
could run well.
Yeah, for the Wolfords and Jamie Hamilton. Bang up there as well. It's got a bit of a
Achilles
national
where I
feel about
expect
this.
him to be. That's good.
We're going to be in for the national, guys, aren't we, by the
Yes.
way?
God, yeah.
Ah, just to break
Yeah.
that. We are. This you're looking
Can we
at
have
part
beers with us? Can we
of
have
the.
beers?
I don't know about that. John Smith potentially. Don't.
No, it's not been John Smith for about
Randox.
10 years.
I know.
Peter Kay will be coming in
Should we
next.
have some paracetamol then or something?
Claire Surf, the classic chase winner, now adopts the front-running role that has served these staying chasers so well into the home straight for what? The first of 6 times? I don't know. Let's have a look. Who else is there? Just your type. Where's Achilles then out the back from
Right.
that green
Yeah,
as
no,
well?
that's
And a bit
fine.
wide.
Watching them all in is my check it out with Glensilly Burbas and Domain Delille, another course winner. Jack Wildman taking off 7. Glensilly Burbas whacked that one as the first mistake I can see so far. Lakeview Lad, who we spoke a bit about him being dropped recently. He's got a nice position under Sean Quinlan.
Brave Eagles dropped to last. He's got. Yeah, he's.
He's got a
It's not a
few...
Hendo horse, is it?
Yeah, it is.
drums.
And he's had a
Brave
few
Eagles not run a good
wallets.
race in 2 years. He got badly. He was badly handicapped for winning that race in Uttoxeter in the summer, and he's
He
never
won in the
recovered.
Ladbrokes
Yeah.
Trophy, I think.
Paul
It's
O'Brien's
something
having
we did.
to really sort of nudge him along and say,
Where's
come on,
Potter's?
wake up.
Oh, we lost one. We lost the Irish Raider.
Yeah, that was that. History of Fashion's gone.
History of
Yeah,
Fashion.
Richard Condon took a tumble there. Horse still galloping loose, then out the back.
It was nice to see a
Raider
couple of
goes.
greys in the middle, isn't it?
Well, at Potter's Corner, the only distance winner in the race, of course, the Welsh national winner.
What's
He's
his
in
distance
fifth
win
as
would have been the Midlands National? He won that, didn't he?
Did as well. Of course he did. Absolutely. It's just whether the ground's a bit live for him.
Possibly. I thought he had
Possibly.
one big day left in him, and he probably had it in the cross country.
Well, there you are. And interestingly enough, spoke to Christian Williams yesterday on Watch Out, and he basically says no point in us taking these horses to Cheltenham. You know what will happen. So I'm targeting these pots. You know,
Yeah,
the Coal
yeah,
Trophy coming up
quite right.
is more valuable than races
It's
at
not a
Cheltenham.
difficult thought to have, and more trainers should have it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well,
Yeah, no, I
he
totally-
spent a bit of time in Ditchy, did Christian, didn't he? Of
Well,
course.
exactly. It's a very Nichols style, that.
Yeah, definitely one of the characters of the game, and would love to see him take out a double here. And Sam might have something to say about the Nicole Trophy, but he's got 3 in it coming up. That's the
Oh,
last
Potter's
race.
Corner, you've hit that one.
As a commentator's curse. Akil just started to warm up a little bit from out the pace. Interesting, Barry. Rathenier. I've had a little bit of this one as well. It's in 3rd or 4th under Craig Nicol, going well.
Yeah, he's travels well. He's in a good rhythm. He's jumped particularly well too, which is good to see. 6.6 Win My Wings, 8.8 Rathenier, 8.8 Eclair Surf. That had traded at 12 earlier. 5.3 though, your favourite, Danilo Diary.
All right, thank you very much, Barry.
Danilo
Okay,
Deary's actually in front now. He's in front of Eclair Surf. Jumped very left there.
keep your eye on... just look on Check It Out. Look, you can see why they've put on those cheek pieces. He wasn't just fun well last time, was he? It turns out he
Possibly
is-
not.
actually is a bit
I mean,
of
he
a
tends to
monkey.
get rid
Quite a
of
few with
forcefully.
cheap pieces there on the day, but
Achilles
There's
been
a few
getting.
A's
Win My
going on.
Wings, she's been jumping well.
She has.
She's been jumping
That's
really
the one
well.
I haven't noticed yet. Oh, yeah, okay. Right
She's got a
upside
big-
in
she's
the
got a big
lad.
white blaze. She's
She's
been
about
jumping
8th,
really
didn't
well.
she?
Mm.
Yeah, okay. Under Grand National winning jockey, the Maniac,
The Maniac.
Ryan.
I can't think of a less maniacal jockey than Ryan Mania. He's not a really placid character.
He's really placid. Really placid. Very nice guy.
Talks very well, Ryan, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Domain Delille then, seeing them all in from the back.
Yeah.
Cash to
He is.
Ash
He's not
just
really
dropped
picked
back
up
a
the
bit.
bit, Domain Delille.
Yeah,
No,
again.
made a mistake at the first and hasn't travelled since,
Yeah,
really.
okay, just lost
Richard
his confidence
McLernan's
a bit.
getting quite a nice
Beautiful
ride at the
looking
moment.
horse, Domain Delille.
On
Beautiful.
Court Master, making his mind up a bit, saying, come on, mate.
Akil's
dictate what he
done his
does."
usual. Maybe that's the thing to do with him. He makes up a bit of ground mid-race.
Yeah, he did, absolutely. So we're coming into the home
Yeah, he's
straight
come from
again.
right out the back.
Yeah.
So quite nice.
Had him
little,
out
posse.
wide and just made him go forward, because the thing is, he'll slow down at some point.
Yeah,
and
I can even see in the gallery they're getting into this race big
Oh,
time. I reckon
it's
that. I
so
wonder
good,
who
isn't
they've
it?
backed out there as well. You can see a bit of bouncing up and down
I
going
just
on.
love it.
It's the Ida time. How many times are we going into the home straight? I think we're going.
This is
into it
the
again now.
penultimate time.
This is the penultimate time. You love this, don't you? It's absolutely fantastic.
yeah.
Considering your
It's
record's terrible in it as well. Do
Yeah.
you just like
But I
slip us
think I
out?
realised why when I looked at it and realised that horses can come from the back when they can do that because it's Newcastle and it's like this. But I've got a better record than a lot of the other ones where bobbing out in front is what you want to do.
Yeah, look at Gwensley Burbas carting through the field, the Exeter winner. Do you remember? Ryan McHugh put that up for us, didn't he?
Who turns up?
Sending it for Barry. And again, Richie Forrestal fancied this chap and basically said if you take out the Sandown run, where it just didn't really work, maybe he should have had £6 more.
But
in
it's like
his back.
it's if the horse fancies it most of the time.
Well, at the moment, he's absolutely carting along with Win My Wings, but
Yeah,
none perhaps going better than the front running. He's opening them up. This is the interesting thing about these front runners, isn't it? It's beautiful jumping from McClare's serve as well. Tom Bellamy having his right old spin out there. This is where they start to get out of the comfort zone. When does it happen?
Probably going down the back now. They'll turn away from the stands and they'll jump a couple of fences and, they'll just do it as they like. And then it's when they turn out into the back
The
of
amber zone before they get into red.
Yeah.
And they'll just the thing is, a clear surf, he gets to bounce out in front, he gets to jump in his rhythm, and he doesn't have to waste any energy.
All right,
But
okay.
when they turn it into the straight and it's right into his visog, then you might have a different view on life.
You wouldn't be stinky about any of them at the moment. Even Domaine DeLille's not that far off, isn't he?
No, he's picked up the bit again, hasn't he?
Yeah, Brave Eagle's got himself back into a bit. Achilles gone back now a little bit, as has Gwensley Burbas, actually. So,
Otter's Corner's been jumping a bit better.
has he?
Lakeview lad travels well too. Doesn't he? Great.
Yeah.
He does, actually.
Just going a bit
does.
slower. Just going a bit. He's just been.
Yeah, he's pulling a bit, isn't he?
He is.
Quite a few of them are pulling still, actually. Look at Innisfree lad, widest of all out there.
How many to jump, Dave?
Oh. That's a cruel one. I think I might need to put another zero on the number of fences at the minute, mate. I'm not totally sure
Is this
about
the
that.
last circuit? Or
I mean,
This is the last circuit.
I got no idea.
Look at the clock in the top left, 6 minutes on now, so we can't have another circuit in a
Thank
bit.
God Mr. Ryder himself is here because I'm just going round and round in circles at the moment. Just enjoying it. Just my type keeps catching my eye.
But it is so enjoyable, isn't it?
It is.
Any of that horse
This
travel.
is a good time to be on RP Live, let me tell you. They're going really wide on Achilles, aren't they?
Yeah.
And we haven't
Achilles
mentioned.
Oh, he pecked on landing
He
there,
changed
didn't
leg a bit and he pecked on landing. I don't know.
The story horse is Beavis horse, isn't it?
Innisfree lad has come in. He's gone third. On
he? Yeah,
the
he's moved
outside
right up.
for the skill
Moved
lad.
right up.
Yes, he's a proper stayer as well. One of the Gillard
He
brothers.
was,
doing
yeah,
really
I
well
mean-
this
Got
year.
Achilles at the
Gio
moment,
Gillard,
Dave.
yeah.
Yeah, one of the he had a hot patch, didn't he? Donald McCain's right.
be
Potter's
slightly-
Corn. Now we're
I'd say
starting to see
well,
the
a
comfort
handicap to win
zones.
a race like
Oh,
this,
Brave
that's
Hill
not
doesn't like it. Oh, what's that pulling up at the back? Unfortunately, that does look like the story horse, doesn't
yeah,
it?
that is your Beavis horse.
Danilo Dairy pulling up again. Let's hope he is okay. Check it
Win
out,
My
starting to
Wings
warm
going
up
really
now.
well.
This is what I want to see.
tanking.
Jordan
Win My
Hayes
Wings is 6 to
She's-
4 now. Would you
She's
believe
6
that?
to 4.
Yeah, but she's looking amazing.
We must
Look
be
at
near
her.
the end.
Absolutely tanking.
6 to 4. She's absolutely to come on. Your record might be about to get good here, Keith. I don't know.
Quiet.
This is exciting. I don't
Quiet
know.
you.
When do you
Oh, she
need to
keeps
be
jumping.
gritty,
She
though?
jumps
Just my
brilliantly.
type, whack that one. Now you're seeing them out on their legs a little bit. Yeah, Paul's
I think a
going.
lot are being
Cash to Ash
struck here.
struggling.
Achilles is not looking good.
She's odds
No, he's
on.
gone.
They've not even turned in on our
but
screen.
she is tanking, isn't she?
Yeah.
1.91.
She's got a lovely bit of colour. But at the moment, it's a classic chase winner that leads them in. Court Masters up there as well.
He's
for
running
Andy
a
Green.
great race.
And
Keeping
Silly
quite a run up.
Bearbass travels.
Gwensley Burbas, a horse that will stay. Is that Tom Scudamore, isn't it? Just kidding him in. Check it out. It's left it a bit
Here's
too
the
late, I
favourite
think.
between horses.
Yeah, what's she going to
Is she
find?
gonna
That's the
find, though?
question.
That's the thing.
Oh, she's finding. Look at the
got the
maniac.
gap. She's through the
He's
gap.
coming back up. He's on the bridle.
Oh, he fancies it,
Christian
doesn't
Williams
he?
is behind. I'll tell you what, he's in a
dearie
box at
me.
Kempton at the moment.
11's
Christian.
on.
Oh, we'll be watching the racing. The beers will be flowing because the mare goes clear. A clear serve, no answer. Court Master run an absolute blinder with Innisfree lad. Gwensley Burbas looks like
Come
fifth. This
Go
is
on.
all over.
Come
The
on, Ryan.
Exchange new. Woohoo! Away we go.
still-
She's tiny as well, isn't she, when you look at her?
Oh, come on. I'm still sweating.
What
Go on,
do you
lad.
mean you're still sweating, man? She's fine. Eclair Surf's trying to come back.
Yeah,
This is
you know, this
too
is all
late.
over now. That's fine. That's
You're
fine.
not getting a
That's
catch of the
fine.
maniac on the running. Well done if you followed him price-wise. Well done if you followed him Keith Melrose, the king
Yeah,
of the
well done.
Ida.
That was ace.
Comes good. I tell you what, I love it when a plan comes together, Keith. Absolutely fantastic. Barry, they knew on the exchange those wily players miles out.
She was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Miles out, yeah. She was odds on. She was 10 to 9 on, I think, with 4 to jump.
Yeah, she
the
went on
way
John
she
before
travelled.
they turned in. Unbelievable.
He cleared the surf trade at a low at 2 to 1 in running, would you believe? Belloni, Deriz, they really hit a low of 4.6. There were so many of them just kind of all playing second fiddle from such a long way out, in fairness. Like she was 10s on jump at the last and then 25 to 1 on a couple of strides after when it looked maybe that Eclair Surf was coming back. But 101 soon after that.
101.
Betfair
lad.
SP of 8.2, and interestingly, he the favourite for this win My Wings, and the favourite for the next race we're going to cover earlier on this morning, it was working out about 50 to 1 to double. So I'd say there's going to be plenty of money, running up money going on to the 337 here in Kempton and Captain North.
Oh, the Welsh Dragon will be excited now at Kempton. He's gone to Kempton. He's in a box.
Yeah, I would
He's
love.
swilling away. He'll be saddling at the minute.
He'll be absolutely.
I'll tell you what, just a quick word of Christian Williams. Obviously, he's great to us, Christian. He's easy to work with. We have a bit of a joke about it sometimes. He thinks that we jock him off for some of the bigger trainers. And he said, top mate, he says on the phone. And you never really know whether he's in the room with you or not, but he's proper wily, isn't he?
Oh, well, he always has been, and he always. But I keep saying the same about Emmett Mullins. It's actually not that difficult to be that wily. It just needs a bit of thought, and he has got that bit of thought, and he is a very wily trainer. And I'm delighted he has actually been like he has as a trainer, because A, to be that wily, and B, when he was a rider, you heard, he was a bit of a grumpy sod when he was a rider from the stories you heard.
We had some terrible injuries.
Some of the breaks he had.
Oh,
there wasn't a bone in his body. He didn't break.
Oh yes, he did have. He did have some. Yeah.
Cripple.
He was just quite. He was just quite quiet when he was riding. Like his head was down. He was like almost bored and a bit shy. He didn't really want to know. He just had a job in hand.
I'd never known a jockey to get so broken up as him.
Well, he don't think Henry Brook's far behind, Barry. Poor Henry.
Sorry.
Poor Henry Brook again, like he's fractured the vertebrae in his neck again, second time in 18 months.
There was a spell though, Barry, wasn't there, before we think about Kempton, where Christian Williams seemed to be on telly all the time, bones coming out of his arm and things like that.
He did.
He used to do the telly in a sling all the time. I remember that now,
Yeah, it's taken him quite a while to get.
But as a trainer, he is a different personality, and do you know what is amazing about him? Is he's got such an ethic for his horses that they live out. Dewey barely has stables. I'm not joking. They live out. They have rugs on. They live out. He does all of his own work in the ocean. They call their legs down. Like, honestly, his ethic behind a horse is magic. He just says, I keep them as natural as possible. And you don't often hear that.
And the line that we used to watch out yesterday when we spoke to him, of course, you've got 3 coming up in the biggie at 3:37. We'll find what Barry makes of them in a sec. But the line we used was, there's no point in turning up to Cheltenham. He has looked at this pot. She doesn't look like a national horse to me. I mean, Tiger Roll's tiny, I suppose, but
Last Samurai.
Yeah,
I think Pocket Rockets are great.
You don't have to think beyond winning an Ida, do you?
It's the be all and end all. Unbelievable! Someone frame that.
I'm not. I mean, look, yes, that
Our
is.
Plutard's been doing it all wrong.
It's the most on-brand thing I'll ever say, but. I do mean it as well. If you can win a heritage handicap, why do you need to think about what's next?
She, do you know, Win My Wings. She is like the exact type of racehorse I'd like to own.
Have you got a tat?
Straight as a die.
No, but I was being semi-serious about it, because you don't. She's won a big Saturday handicap now.
Serious.
She's won a big Saturday handicap now. The fact is the Ida is sort of incidental, but obviously it's dead funny.
She was pretty much textbook.
Oh,
Straight as a die, jumped
Lovely.
brilliantly, never off bridle.
Absolutely.
That was probably my favourite performance.
Yeah, they don't win it like that, do they? So it's interesting.
She was amazing.
So what's she go up for that? What 140?
Oh, she'll get £8. Well, she's already won. She'll go 140.
Listen, we'll see what Christian says to us. If he's
Irish national, they should go with her now.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, she'd stay all day, wouldn't she?
I would think I'd just go with the Whitbread, I think.
She has one of the stuff. Oh, I bet 365. He's
I would just leave it and go back to the Ida again next year.
The
Two
Whitbread,
Iders!
Oh, he's on good form now. Let's see what he likes in the Coral Trophy coming up then. It is 3:37.
The thing is, everything gets aimed at either the Ida or the Whitbread, doesn't it?
In your eyes, yes.
Well, no, but everything does, because either you're really, really slow and you end up in the Ida, or you're a bit slow and you have to go right-handed and you need good ground.
Yeah.
And then it's the Whitbread. Yeah. So because there's quite unique races.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, listen, if you're with the judges at the post, you were all over that one. What a gamble. What price did you get? Let us know. You've got time to get a little bit of chat in, I imagine. We've got 7 minutes until the final race of the day. Hasn't it flown by? And this is a cracker barrier, isn't it? We thought that Ansam was going to be the fab, long-time anti-post, 5-day decks, all that sort of stuff. But he's drifting out, isn't he?
Yeah, Phoenix Way is the springer in the race. One last day in Ascot. I'm not sure about him now, but he has been on the exchange. He's been matched at a high of 15. He's into 7.2 now, 9.2 each of 2, Captain Noor and Ansam, 10.5 the big breakaway. 5-star getaway is an 8-to-1 chance, and it's double figures. The rest all around 15 and 16 and above. I just thought the favourite was opposable in that he looked to do it very easy last day, and the form has been franked, obviously, by the horse that finished runner-up. He's finished third in a Grade 1 since, but He looked like a horse that needed a lot of kidding to me and mightn't find a whole lot for pressure. I'm going to look to lay him in the win and place market. Just take 25 quid out of him in the win at 7.6. Don't mind getting him at that price, considering he's been 14. And I think that's the basement price for him now, because this is a competitive race. And then in the 3-place market, where he's currently trading at around a little over 2-1, we'll take 25 quid out of him there as well, please, Keith.
Done.
Lovely. All right, there you go. I'm with you there, Barry. I think this is not a sort of kidding sort of track, is it, this one? And I thought that was his day at Ascot last time. And again, it was a unanimous pick from, I think, every tipster went for him, and he still went off a big price. It was one of the unanimous ones we got right. I'm surprised that Ansam is not favoured to see him off again.
I did the Saturday jury for the Racing Post today, and I wrote that yesterday at sort of lunchtime. And I said, Phoenix Way should be in the top 2 or 3. I'd have him second favourite, actually, behind Ansam. And obviously he's been punted since, and now he's favourite ahead of Ansam. I'm not sure that's necessarily right because of the points you make. I still think this is a well-handicapped horse. You say Kempton's not that sort of track, but travel in behind horses and pull yourself out 3 out and make up ground between 3 out and 2 out. That's exactly what you want to do at Kempton.
Do you remember the race last year when Clondell Castle won?
Yes. I'm not.
Painful memories for me. I got involved on a bit.
What was second again?
What a touch on Young Wolf. They went scorching pace into the first 2. Eric LaRouge was second, Mr. Monarchy.
Well,
it's
in pictures, Good Boy Bobby definitely wants to be getting on with things. I know he's a prominent racer, but he looks pretty keen going down to post. I don't think a favourite's won this since 2008.
It has a bad race for
You rolled that out to me when I said, I think now this is Ansam's race.
I said, our favourite's
not
won since 2008.
Now, so I fancy him more.
Good Boy Bobby is already pulling like a train.
He's been a fascinating horse this year, Good Boy Bobby.
Yeah,
he used to be
himself, isn't he?
He used to be a horse that just wouldn't go on from his first run.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's not had a wind-up, but he runs like a horse that's had a wind-up or something.
It's a bit surprising he's top weight here, isn't it?
He's just rejuvenated, isn't he? I wouldn't be surprised if Christian Williams had a good race in this. Kitty's Light could just bounce back. I wouldn't ignore Kitty's Light, at the price.
Christian Williams, you do like one of his trio, don't you?
I really do. I mean, because I like one of his trio, I'm going to pick the wrong flipping one probably. There's not been a lot of buzz around it, but I do like 5-Star Getaway. I do.
It was back to the start of the week.
Won here in December.
He was a bit lukewarm on it to me. And if it wins by 5 lengths, he's getting a call immediately after the race.
But he's fast improving. Began life in handicaps a mark of 94. He won 3 times last season, always with tons in hand.
Bounce off this ground, I think. I napped him at Sandown.
He did disappoint in that air, to be fair.
Was that the day you were there that he ran at Sandown? Yeah, it was 21 days ago. Yeah, it was the 5th of Feb, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the day.
Decided to join us back from Antigua.
Yes.
He beat 4 to Skew, obviously, didn't he?
And that Haydock Forms worked out, wasn't it?
And that's the Royal Pagaille race, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, we'll get on to that in a sec. And then Sandown last time, he looked like he was going to follow it all the way. It was a bit easy to bat.
We've talked about
He jumped really well. He was just off the pace, wasn't he?
We've talked about Williams and having a plan. When I had to write a piece about 5 surprising entrants for the Grand National, or surprising omissions from the Grand National entries, 5-Star Getaway was one of them. And it was because he's been aimed at this race.
Yeah.
That's why 5-Star Getaway was never in the National. It's been all about getting him ready for this race.
Yes.
Captain Nor is the other buzzer, isn't it? Who's got the Royal Pagaille form that everyone was like, right, this is really well handicapped, this horse, and he hasn't produced.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this horse, but he's always struck me as a bare 3-mile horse, and that's why he's popular for this race. Because
he said that his scopes are progressively getting better this season.
Right.
Yeah, and the money has come from him. He'll bounce off the ground. And a reproduction of that Royal Pagaille form is nearly going to win this, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, the Royal Pagaille form is just something else, isn't it? And he keeps in the Sky Bet. He was third again. Last year he was third in the Sky Bet as well, shaping like he barely got home. That's Donny in late January. This is Kempton a month later. He just is a horse. I just think he needs the barest test you can get at 3 miles. He's going to get it here. So this is the race. If he's ever going to win one of these big ones, it's probably one of these.
Yeah.
Christian said to us yesterday.
And the cheap returning.
I asked him for the buzzer for the viewers out there, and he said, "Got to be Kitty's Light."
Yeah.
And we love Kitty's Light.
It's an incredible story. 5,000 pounds. I mean, the story is amazing how they got this horse.
One of the craziest moments in this studio we've had.
And Rillo's getting smashed up here, lads.
Is he really?
But 23 into 13 in a matter of seconds.
Really?
Very timely, Barry, because Kitty's Light and Rillo, they got that form, haven't they?
Got that history.
I've got to be honest, I thought that when I saw him in this, I thought they've got one race on their mind, surely.
That was my thought, yeah.
But then pieces go on, and they're looking at this as a winnable race, obviously. And we know that he, if he comes back to form, he's banging this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I thought he was going to. Well, that Cheltenham race where Commodore won, He just looked to have. He was favourite for that, wasn't he? And he was travelling well when he came down the back. Was it halfway down the back in the Ladbrokes Trophy?
Yeah.
When he came down, he just everything since that Sandown run when he shaped like the best horse, easily the best horse in the Whitbread. None of them's they've not been bad runs. They've been excusable or they've been good. And yeah, you can see it. The reason I wouldn't have put him up at those prices, Tom Siegel has, but the reason I wouldn't have is simply because I thought the same as you. I thought it's all about getting back to Sandown.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when the money comes, you've got to start reassessing that point of view.
Who's the tip, Keith? As they
No,
circle
it's already been on the things. It's Phoenix Way. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. You're with the Fab. All right.
I was in the Fab because he was sort of like 10 to 1 sixth in the betting at lunchtime yesterday. And I says, well, he should be second Fab.
He's some rider, Kevin Brogan, isn't he?
He is. He's really promising. I thought actually at Ascot, Lucy Turner gave the second a better ride than Brogan gave the winner because Brogan was plainly on a horse. Yeah, Brogan was plainly on a horse that had loads in hand, whereas Fanion wasn't necessarily, and Turner gave him a great ride. And that horse, I don't
know whether he had a load in hand or whether he needed a lot of kidding.
Maybe
he was very reluctant to go for a stick. He actually didn't go for a stick at all. It was hands and heels all the way. Now, I know I don't think he felt he could pick her up that easily anytime he liked. I thought he just had to get him along a little.
We're about to find out.
That's just my opinion.
It could well be. I mean, it would be
He's definitely one of those
ballsy
horses.
as hell for a young jockey like Brogan to
getting
do that and not pick up his whip. So yeah, it might
jumped
be right
off then, and guess who got a slap down the neck before he even
breakaway,
jumped
wasn't it?
off? The big breakaway, who
He's
some
not
judges have
fluent
gone
enough
for.
jumping, I don't get it.
Well handicapped on that Corto Star form of last season, wasn't it? And
Everything
somehow
wants to
he's
lead.
responded.
Everything wants to lead except Phoenix Way.
He's responded, right out the back. We're expecting that. I'm fascinated to see what Brian Hughes does on Kitty's Light. And we know that the horse doesn't have much pace, but is it all about
Ansam hit that, didn't he?
They're out the back at the minute. They're going slightly slower than they were by some considerable margin in the race. Last year it was mental pace. And there's the clock, Barry. I heard you laughing. It's bang on 30. Ansam sits just off the big breakaway then. Enrillo, a little bit of a springer late on. He's up there as well. Beakstown, a horse that owes a few of you a few quid out there, I would imagine. 5-star Getaway, a lovely posse there. Absolutely tanking along with Zanza, another one. Did Kills go for Zanza?
He did in the end, each way. I mean, he's more positive than you'd expect him to be, actually, on Zanza.
Once bitten.
Oh,
Never
yeah,
twice shy, old Kills.
Oh,
Fiend.
He's
gone. Phoenix Way's gone.
Phoenix Way out the back has gone. Let's hope he
hell.
gets up all right. We won't know then how we would have to handle the track then because he didn't handle that fence. Lalor going up on the outside, not happy with the pace. Our Power.
Oh, he's worn that one.
Who was that one?
Good boy, Bobby.
Yeah. Captain Orr out the back with Galahad Quest, another horse we know well about in this studio. Awash with sweat, Ansan, isn't he? But Adam Wedge, this is a hell of a ride for him. He gets him into a rhythm.
He's missed another one.
It a bit. Okay, we're after a couple of fences, Barry. We've seen Phoenix Way is out. Have they adjusted?
Yeah, 5-star Getaway, 5.59. Arillo, 8.4. Captain Nord. Outside of that, you're looking at 13.5. Kitty's Light, who's travelling well.
You're not surprised, having seen the way that first mile's gone, that a 5-star Getaway's into Fav.
Yeah, he looks.
What we love about
great
Kitty's
position.
Light, just to remind you, is that he always looks beaten. And he just never is.
I just love the fact that he's been running these marathons since he was about 2.
I know.
He is a freak.
You'd say that about Kitty's Life.
Yeah. He's meant to be running a derby.
And like, he's
Still
only
a
6.
6-year-old.
He's
he's still
I mean, like, it's mad, isn't
We've
it?
seen him quite a few times on this show, and we got with him early when Christian told us he was really well.
Badger's Ale 1 year. He was only a 4-year-old.
Yeah, he was
That's
a 4-year-old
the
in a Badger Ale.
And again, he looked terribly beaten in that. He nearly got taken out and ran on for third.
Is it the horse or is it the trainer that means he's been enterprising enough to run him in a Badger Ales at 4?
They don't think he wants soft ground, otherwise they would have aimed at the Welsh National. And he's just fiddling him out the back a little bit. Zanza, a shake of the reins for the old character that is. Lalor had a little bit of interest early. He's dropped off a little bit. Galahad Quest, very cold. He's got the trip to think about, hasn't he? But big breakaway soaring over that one. He needed a right whack down the neck, didn't he, to get him going.
It's obviously a plan to lead.
Yeah.
Under Brendan Powell.
I think that's why there was so much panic at the start.
Yeah.
Quick, to fight for it.
We're going to bounce him out today, Brendan.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be happier than any position than 5-star Getaway, would you? Under
You wouldn't. He's not quite taking on the fences as much as I thought he might. Like, he's getting in a little bit deep. But nothing wrong with it. I'm not worried. But he's not absolutely soaring over them. But
They're still really yet to burn up. Then final race then this afternoon on RP Live. We'll be back next week. Of course, more battle, isn't it? When's Greatwood Week? Is that next week?
Next week as well. Yeah, it's Kelso and Newbury sharing
We've got
spoils.
Sandown coming up, of course, Imperial Cup Day, and then the big week. We're with you all 4 days, of course.
Oh,
and just some stuff at the racing post coming up.
He just jumped left, didn't he? He was fine.
He
Who
did
was
jump
that?
left and five-star getaway.
I was just giving a nice intro to the next couple of weeks, and you've, just to write as a crescendoing, you've jumped all over it.
Sorry.
That's all right, it's fine. No worries. Forgiven. Zigley out the back. Lingfield winner last time.
Yeah, Laylor's not fancying it by the looks of things.
What
No.
does the big breakaway do now he's been headed? Sulk?
Yeah, he hates it, doesn't he? He just doesn't like racing.
Yeah.
I think he'll just start going backwards.
Such a
And
shame.
Rillo's your new favourite at 4.0.
Well,
He's tanking along. This is interesting, Barry, isn't it? See him up front, because they thought he hit the front too soon at Sandown, didn't he, when he threw it away? And yet, here he is. It's very, very interesting indeed. And again, like Win My Wings, we just saw in the Ida. First time cheap pieces here. Captain Orr warming up.
If you hadn't seen the market, you'd have just said, "Oh, and Rillo's just having a run round. He's having a blow for the Bet365."
Lovely
but the market's
experience.
telling you he's here to win
Kitty's
this.
like warming up a little
Yeah.
bit. Oh, come on. Now, yeah, 5-star getaway, not sure. Niggling a little bit. Got
Good
that
boy
lovely
Bobby's right on the
Yeah,
outside
he's
now.
not
Good boy
retaking,
Bobby was
yeah.
on the inside early on. He's now widest of
Considering the
all.
mistake he made earlier, he's travelling supremely well.
He
He
is.
is, isn't he?
This is Charlie Post.
I reckon he's quite nails, though, you know.
Beaks
good boy
down
Bobby.
up there
I
as
reckon
well.
he's
The horse
tough.
that definitely wants a bit of a test. And Sam going really
some
well.
net.
How's he gone over this one? Yeah, again, another little bit of a dive at that one. As soon as I mentioned. Look at Kitty's light warming up under Brian
Look at
Hughes.
Galahad Quest.
Oh,
Yeah, he's-
Barry.
Stay 3 miles.
Please tell me you've had a
he
fiver
hasn't
on him
yet.
this time. Our Power. Our Power is there as well. He's warming up. And Sam's just
not
going
jumped.
backwards.
Not jumped.
Yeah, he's gone. So the Ascot win up Phoenix Way. Not their day today, Sam.
Galahad Quest
Five-star
wins.
getaway.
If Galahad Quest wins,
He's
maybe
assuming just
along.
he's light, isn't
All
he?
right,
So
we're
he's-
turning in then.
Yeah.
It's the Coral Trophy 2022.
Kitty's lights
3 more
getting
fences
coaxed
to
into it.
Come on, Kitties! This would be absolutely fantastic. I said to Christian yesterday, if he's there turning in, he wins.
Oh,
Look at
well,
him. He's managed to get him down in the handicap. This is absolute Frankel stuff. Look at him going into it. I love this horse. In Rillo, still the one to catch.
Let's see what
Beaks
Rillo's
down
got.
there as
Rillo and
well.
Kitty's lights
Go on,
going out,
Kitties.
Kitty.
What do you got left? Brian Hughes, you never know. Come on, Brian. Can this be the big double?
Captain Ord's coming.
Orr's in there as
Captain
well.
Ord's
This
coming.
is it, isn't it?
Captain Ord's
Come on,
coming.
Kitties. Can he possibly do it? Captain Orr's there as well.
Rillo's-
Christian Williams
Christian
1-2.
Williams, maybe.
He's
Come
been
on,
over the
Brian.
inside.
He's got it.
Galahad
He's got
Quest
it.
as well.
He's definitely got it,
Kitty's
Williams.
like
Super Christian
unbelievably.
Williams.
It's 1-2 at the minute. Captain Orr is the Rauper guy form. Can Brian Hughes conjure one? Look at this coming out. Power out of the kitchen. But it's Captain Orr at the minute. Up he
Oh,
goes.
he got a one.
Christian Williams will be intolerable after this. 1-2 for the Williams. Absolutely
I'm delighted.
sensational.
Delighted.
Kitty's like only second behind Captain Orr. You were told by Christian yesterday. Fantastic. Don't we love it when a
I
plan
thought
comes
Christian
together?
was going to have a good race
Oh,
in this.
magnificent. Well,
That
well, you
was-
want
I'm so
thing
pleased
is,
for him.
You see the way it's panned out today. He thinks about it. And
Yeah.
he's thought about sending Win My Wings up to Newcastle. He's thought about sending 5-star getaway and getting Kitty's like handicapped and getting Captain or handicapped.
This is proper race planning.
And yeah, exactly.
And the
if more
jockey's got it right, hasn't he?
And if
It
more
shouldn't be
trainers
difficult.
did it, if
Jack
more
Tudor.
trainers did it properly and didn't just go with like whether owners or whatever, they would have more success. Wouldn't
Absolutely,
they?
this is
race
correct.
plan. This is
I'm-
proper race planning.
It's not difficult, lads. Williams is doing it, and I'm delighted to see him
And
get
he's
his
doing it
award for it.
brilliantly.
By the way, who ran a brilliant trial for the Bet365? And Rillo.
Rillo,
In
yes,
Rillo.
of
And he's
course.
shaped like a horse that wasn't quite fit.
Do you think they'll keep the pieces on him potentially?
Yeah, of
Our
course.
Power ran well as well.
Yeah,
he
he
might
did,
be going for that.
did,
He
yeah.
looked Cook turning in. What an exciting race! What an
I
exciting
mean,
afternoon with
that Our Power won't go up any further in trip. He's flatbread.
He used to be a king, didn't he? Yeah, but he stayed on there, didn't he?
He did, but he was
Against
out.
the pot, isn't
He was sort of kept out of it a
He's
bit.
on his nose after jumping the last.
Oh, could Kitty's like just go back and do it at Sandown April and get the
That was
justification? He'd go back up in the weights. But wasn't it great to see him swinging in? Barry, that must have been a bit of a fun on the exchanges in the home straight.
Kitty's light hit a low at 1.36, so
Really?
4 to 9 mark, and Rillo hit a low at 2.74. Your winner, Captain Nord, 8.4. They didn't go off favourite on the Betfair Exchange, but was favourite this morning, along with his winner in the Eider as well. And when I looked at the double, it was paying around 48 to 1, so just under 50 to 1. I'm sure plenty of people in Wales had that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the local pubs are probably swilling out, aren't they, at the minute?
We had a meeting on Tuesday to decide what the Racing Post front page would be, and I said it should be like a Welsh raid on England because it's England-Wales at Twickenham as well this afternoon.
Of course it is, yeah, and that's where he's...
Yeah.
That's where he's...
What did you go with, Keith?
I don't know, to be honest.
You'll find out at 9 p.m, I think, only when the digital edition comes
no,
out.
it's for today, whatever today's front page was.
Oh, was it? Oh, right, okay, sorry, you're talking about today. I thought you meant yesterday.
No.
Did we not go with it?
Don't think so.
Look, I got it right. Kieran Thurwell out there got it right, the producers. We knew this was Christian's Week. We got it
Christian's
right. If
Week,
you're
did you?
watching, Willow, I'm telling you, this was great. And listen, it's been a really good afternoon. It's been sort of slow in between. We talked about Cheltenham, we digressed. The national team is readying up. Ida was one of the highlights of the day, wasn't it?
Oh, I didn't answer my handicap one. My computer's died, so I'm just going on pure memory. But it was it's a Fergal O'Brien horse and the Potemps. It's got a funny name, Alpha
Alaphilippe.
Philippe.
Yeah,
Yeah, that will
buzzer, isn't
be.
he?
That's going to be my.
Keels is all over that as well.
I'm
Good
down
company.
for that.
All right, okay. Might hear from Fergal about that soon, hopefully, on one of our shows. All right, Barry, it's been a great afternoon. Lovely to have you back, man.
Been brilliant, guys. Thank you very much,
No,
Keith,
thank-
for doing all that work on the
Not at all.
Betfair Exchange, and thank you, Natalie. See you soon.
No,
Please,
yeah,
God.
thanks. Some good tips today, Barry.
Go crack a Desperado. Everyone out there as well, thanks for being with us. It's been good fun, hasn't it? You enjoyed your day?
Oh,
Melrose
my
Day forever now.
Well, Melrose Day is the same day as the Ebor, to be honest.
Ah, okay.
So unfortunately,
right,
you can't really
And it's
can't
not
really claim
hyphen
it.
either.
Melrose.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
you've
do.
got the stress on the last
I
syllable.
do.
Nobody's done that in my life.
Well, it's
Certainly
great to
I-
see you. We'll see you back during Cheltenham Week.
Yes, next time I'm in, it's the Thursday, Friday I'm doing.
Yes.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Indeed.
This is our
So there's
team.
an A-team coming together. All right, good stuff. Nat, great to have you back.
Yeah,
See you Cheltenham Week.
yeah.
Yeah, all right, okay. That's good. Great. Thanks to the guys in the gallery. It's been great fun. And thanks to you for watching. What an afternoon we had on RP Live.